Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you all here. Hopefully, you had yourself a very good weekend. Mine was pretty normal, busy as usual. Hopefully, you did something fun and interesting. I did. My wife went shopping, so I guess she had fun, and had some bad sushi. See what else. I got some. I got some Pennsylvania Dutch cookies. They weren't very good. Yeah, you know, as it is. Typical weekend. But nevertheless, today we are going to be talking about uh, what's the future holding? What are we looking at next year for movies, games, or anything? What's coming in our near future, good or bad? And we'll have ourselves a little bit of discussion about that. I see Roger and Dave are here. Hi guys, how you doing? I got myself a Randy Orton Thundero, which is the best kind of Randy Orton, really. Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Oh, oh, right, right. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yep, 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 yeah. And it's made money for sure. Is it? Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. That is nice. They're saying that they cannot hear you. I wonder why that is. Can't hear you. I can hear you just fine. Yeah. Let me check real quick and see if there's anything I can do. Nope, 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 nope. It looks good here. Let me go over the other side and check real quick. Let's see here. Go ahead and chatter. Yeah, you're working fine there. Yeah, that's working. Hmm. All right. It must be in the Streamlabs. So let me come over here and check because you're not registering. Hmm. It is true that they did some kind of update. Let me just go ahead and let me see if this will help it. Just go to see what here. Device. Yes, yes. Default. You come in here. Default. Let's see here. Did that do it? Go ahead, talk. No, no. I'm working, which is good. But you're still not working. Let me do this. I'll turn it on and off. Go ahead. No, no. Now it's weird because I don't know because you're working on Discord again. Let me see. Yeah, no, you're working fine on Discord. So I don't know why. Let's get in here and check it out again. So yeah, because I'm putting it on default. Yes. And well, let me just grab this just to have it official, I guess. This is default, but just go to this one, right? And then audio capture, which would be you.
Me, me, me.
Let me do this again. Keep talking.
Ta 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 ta.
Yep.
Hello.
You now exist.
Hello. I exist. I am
Welcome.
allowed and permitted to be.
Yes. Welcome to the
I
world.
enjoy that.
Yes.
Oh, this
Uh,
is, I mean, this is what you're giving me?
yeah.
I don't think I want to be here. Have you seen the world?
Well, to be fair, I think what I did was took you and threw you up top, so you're working now. But whatever, it is. Uh,
It is.
yes, it is working now. I can see you registering. We got ourselves a Grimlock. Can you register as well?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Register meaning
Speak.
what am I registering
We're
for?
checking your audio.
Speak your truth,
Yeah.
King.
No,
I
fuck
do
that faggot
apologize.
prick.
I used the actual correct word. You know,
Yeah,
I got to
yeah.
remember I got to speak Urbanese around here.
Oh, listen to this guy.
No, you don't. You can speak the King's English, or if you want me to Urbanese, you can speak that white man English.
That's fine.
White man's English.
White man.
Sound all white.
What does a white man sound like?
You,
I don't know because y'all.
whitey.
The funny thing is, a lot of that Urbanese was taught from white people, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. That was Southern whites right there. They just snatched that from their plantation masters and shit. That's
Well,
why they sound that way.
the funny thing of where that's coming from is it's coming from a mix of two things. Of course, you have the French influence, which was heavy in the down in
And that's what
the
France
plantation
does.
areas, but it's also coming from a huge migration movement from the Midlands in
Yep.
Britain or England at that time. So, I mean, it's kind of funny if you go listen to the Southern drawl, which most people just kind of associate with black people, but well, it's just Southern speak, really. Um,
Hmm.
and then you go listen to a Midlands person today; they sound very similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it's coming from.
Well, I used to have a buddy who I used to play World of Warcraft with back in the day. He was a biker. He was the treasury of a biker club, and he was from East Kentucky. And
Yeah.
I used to, mess with him because he had an accent. And he'd say, my accent is closer to actual English than yours is. I was like, well, yeah, but who cares? It's England. Nobody likes England.
It's true.
But he's correct. That eastern edge of Kentucky, right on the edge of the Appalachians, that right there, from what I understand, is very close to what basically how most people sounded when this place was first colonized.
Oh, sure.
Uh, it hasn't changed much. They've pretty much stayed the same while everybody else changed around them.
No, no, definitely. The reason why the American English sounds like me, or us, is because
Hmm.
of which is the news and TV shows and stuff like that. Is that California accent got picked up? Same with culture and stuff.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! We call it broadcast. Let's not be offensive.
All right, fine, that's fine. But that's what flattened it out, and that's why so many people around the world use American English and not British or Australian, because the American English, outside of we have dialects too, but is so flat that it's just easier to understand, right?
Yeah, it's the
It
trade
has,
language.
well, it's become the universal language, and we've also kind of cleaned it up a little bit and simplified it as you're supposed to, but the British are hard-headed, so
No, not the
yeah,
Brits.
just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Um, and but no, it is interesting looking at the movement. Of course, the history movement of language is my shtick. You know,
Yeah, it's kind of what you do.
it's kind of what I do. But watching the modifications into modern English, American English is quite interesting. We got a huge migration of Irish people came over, right? Because in
Yep.
English are evil sons of bitches. But
Yeah.
it's
Pretty
weird
much
that
always have been, by the
yeah,
way.
but
That's not new.
it's weird. So many of them ended up in New Englandish areas.
Yeah. They just basically made a new Ireland. That's what they colonized. It's funny because all this stuff that's been going on in Ireland, well, that's not funny, but the reaction to it,
Hmm.
and these people, there's Irish people say, we were never colonizers. Why are they busting with us? Have you been to Boston? Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
it's true.
Now, it might not have been an
Well,
intentional colonization totally, but you still colonized it. It's still Little Ireland.
yeah, inadvertently though, by accident.
Yeah.
There are more Irish in America than there are in Ireland. Just keep that in mind.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. The
And in
thing.
fact, a lot of the uh, greatest advancements that the Irish get attributed, a lot of that is because of their influence, the American influence over here.
Oh, sure.
Because for the most part, that place was largely for a very very long time was basically just like it was a beautiful place, but there was nothing. It just was.
Wasn't anything
It just
going on.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you got to understand first of all, we don't really know our history
Yeah.
for one,
True.
and two, the little bit we do know, Ireland is kind of a blast point.
Mm,
A cultural nuclear bomb was let off there, right?
mhm,
Because you got to keep in mind, in the ancient times, Ireland was the Holy Land. Today, most people would recognize that as, Israel, Jerusalem area, right? But in
mhm.
ancient times, it was Ireland. That was the Holy Land. That's where all the priests were. That's where they trained. That's where all the royals and nobles had their big palaces and shit like that, or the equivalent of that time. And of course, with the shift from the on people to the Edie people, I'm not. That's a lecture. Yeah. But just trust me. The last bit of victory for them, well, it's kind of what's going on in Israel right now, really. But the last bit of victory for them was to went in and they absolutely blasted the hell out of the Irish culture, the people who were
Yeah.
there. Of course, they weren't Irish, right? They were
Right.
Scotish. They were Scottish. That was what it was called. I know that's weird, but anyway,
Mm.
but they destroyed it. They killed all the priests. They burned down all the temples. They just destroyed everything they could. And of course, now today we celebrate Saint Patrick. That's evil
Yeah.
shit. They renamed the island to Eating Land. My God, it's just like a slap in the face. It's like imagine somehow China got some actual power instead of all this fake
Mm.
power, and they came to America and they took America and they renamed it Taiwan.
I'd respect them for that, to be
I'm
honest
just
with you.
saying that's what happened. And every
That's
day
just so petty, is
it
what
is
that is.
petty.
It's
It's
so
petty.
vindictive.
But that's what happened in Ireland. It's actually every time you say Ireland, you're insulting the history of that place. So it was so bombed out, so destroyed. And then by the time, we get any kind of, later Roman periods, and of course with the Holy Roman Empire and all that kind of stuff, they're just nothing, man. They're
Yep.
just nothing. For hundreds and hundreds of years, they're just this
Just
destroyed example of, you stay in line, you bastards.
yeah. And
Is
they
what
almost
Ireland
died because
is.
they ran out of potatoes, which is very strange to me.
Well, it didn't help that the English were poisoning their wells.
Well,
You know.
you'll have that from time to time. That's
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah.
Especially with the English, they seem to be a problem
They
everywhere they
are
go. The
troublesome,
English.
but keep in mind they are Angles and Saxons. They are Germans.
Yeah, it's
So,
true. It's true. They're even ruled by
how
Germans.
many? I'm really really worried about the world today. How many people actually know that England is named after Angle land? The
Probably
Angles.
zero.
Yeah.
Probably a few people in England, and then weird linguistical folks, linguists. That's the word I was looking for. See, maybe I should talk to some more linguists I could speak.
You might want to.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and weird linguists. Those are the types of people who probably know these sorts of things. I randomly will have just random facts like that get stuck in my head that nobody really needs to know it, because
Mhm.
by and large, I mean, it's not it's a factoid, right?
Right.
But for some reason, my brain just it loves them. Just useless knowledge. Oh,
Hmm.
important things. No, no,
It's
no,
true.
no. Go away. Useless knowledge. Yeah, that's my brain. That's how it works.
Well, it is unfortunate because that area was part of the Albion Empire, right? The Albion Kingdom, and of course it was called Briton, not Britain.
Yep.
They've learned to mispronounce things over time. But anyway, we're certainly not on track of anything that we're supposed to be talking about.
Speaking of Ireland, though, real
Hmm.
quick, the most famous Irishman alive, one of the most famous Irishmen to ever live,
Uh-huh.
Conor McGregor,
Oh yeah.
has been he got himself in trouble apparently because they're a despotic country over there in Ireland,
Oh yeah.
and he dared to besmirch the crown.
They need some
Which
revolutions. What they need.
yeah, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I got some Irish somewhere in this cocktail that is my body. The Irish deserve their place, and
Hmm.
if it takes somebody like Connor being a modern day equivalent of a Caesar, I support every bit of it.
Yep.
Get it done.
Yep. No, he
Because if you
named.
don't get it done, they're gonna end you.
Oh yeah. He
That's the goal.
needs,
That
and
you
that's why they're on him. They're afraid of him. He needs to make his own
Yeah,
political party. Yep.
Yep.
I agree, 100%.
100%. And he'd win. There'd be no way he'd lose unless they absolutely cheat or kill him. No way, no
Yeah,
shot.
which
He's the most popular Irish man probably to ever live.
I thought it
Probably.
was. I'm gonna have to push back on you a little bit because I'm
Uh
pretty sure the most famous Irish person of all time is the Lord of the Dance.
oh. Now I think Connor probably beat him just in
I
sheer
don't know.
numbers.
I don't know.
And the reason why just in sheer numbers is because there's more people now. There's a
Well, I
lot
know
more.
the flattery is
So,
kind of worldwide.
fine. He's the second most famous
There we
Irish
go.
person.
There we go.
It changes nothing. He could
It
still
does.
take that whole island if he wanted to.
I think probably the most famous Irish person is Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker, whatever frickin'
Yeah, but do
name is.
people even know that? Like that he's Irish? Most people probably don't even know that.
Oh.
Doesn't count if nobody knows it.
Yes.
That'd be like being the most famous black guy and your name's John Smith.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Or Will.
that don't count. Yeah.
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 So sad. Yeah. Talk about a fall from grace, man. Will Smith. Now he's one of your
Yeah.
people. What Grimlock, what the hell happened? Nothing.
Oh.
He ain't claiming him. He ain't claiming him.
Goddamn
Yeah,
right, I'm not claiming him.
You know,
No,
but
he's not. No, he unfortunately,
he's not black
like
enough.
many men, it's not even that he's not black enough. For one, I was never a big Will Smith fan to begin with.
Yeah, but he got jiggy with it though.
I hated that album. The only song he ever had that I really liked, once I found out that Rakim wrote it, I never listened to that song again and not heard Rakim's voice. So, it's Summertime, if you're wondering. But
Yeah.
the problem with Will Smith, and to me, I mean, if you like him as an actor, fine. I always thought he was bland. I never thought there was anything special about him. I just think that he wasn't offensive. He was somebody white people could easily look
That's
at and
true.
say, well, he probably won't rock me if I saw him in a dark alley.
Right.
The problem with Will Smith is he should have called OJ. I'm just gonna get it out the way.
Yeah.
Should have called OJ and say, look, we could cut the formalities. I just want to know what would be the best way of getting rid of this bitch.
And how did you get away with it?
Yeah.
And he's got way more money than OJ did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I mean,
no, I know that. I mean, but Will was quite loved. I mean, he had his Fresh Prince thing. He put out his unoffensive, fun hip hop music like it was when it first came out. Everyone was into hip hop. They act like it was a black thing. I mean, I suppose black people created it, I guess, although they took it out of country music, let's be honest. But in the beginning, hip hop was everybody. It was great. It was fun. It was colorful. And he was a memory of that when we were starting to get NWA and stuff, right? And he just, you're right. I guess he's just safe. But he's always been kind of fun. But I mean, it's gone ugly now. I'm kind of wondering what Jada and her crew are really up to, because
it doesn't. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter. She should be pushing daisies at this point.
Yeah, no, I get you. I get what you're saying, but I mean, they've gone extreme now. Now he's being accused, of homosexuality and people walking in on him, and I mean, and he's not. What is it? You guys told me. What was that? Damn it! You gave me some terminology. He's the one on the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people believe that to begin. I mean, to be honest, way before these allegations came up, people.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
I believe that because, well, there's always been a belief, especially amongst male actors, especially non-white male actors, that you usually blow up once you get a gay role or you put on a dress. That has long been a thing. And I think, what was that movie? Was it, 6 Degrees of Separation or some shit? It was some movie where he played a gay guy, and after that, it seemed like he was on a rocket ship.
Oh, I don't even remember.
But
know that movie.
yeah, this was like, this was before Independence Day. This was way before
I
that.
see. Yeah, well.
So,
but you know,
like I said, it's embarrassing, but this is what happens when you give yourself to somebody who does not want you, does not respect you, does not cherish you. And this, if nothing else, this should teach people of when I hear people say what they deserve in life.
Oh well.
This is why I push. Yes, thank you. This is why I push back on that, because that delusional bald-headed wench believes she deserves so much more than what she's gotten, and
Right.
she's gotten a lot for to be honest, for being a mediocre actress.
Well, because she's Will Smith's wife. I mean, that's really her fame.
Well, not even. Well, they tried to make her a lead actress before she married Will.
She's not though. She sucks.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Will
she's
is
a
way
mediocre
more
actress.
fun.
Like,
whether you like Will or not, he's fun, dude.
Yeah, like I said, she's not the worst actress in the world. I mean, we've seen worse get further. I mean, fuck Megan Fox. But
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox is a terrible actress.
Oh, that's that woman who's turned all her boys into girls. The one that was on the Transformers, then it was a mega hottie.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if I say mega hottie.
Well, dude, they go and they get on that Hollywood diet, and then they cut themselves up. It's really not good. It's really not good. She was pretty in that Transformers, dude. That was a little thing. That's about all she was.
She was alright. She looks like the girl who would suck your dick behind a Sonic on a Friday night. That's
why we loved her. Thank you.
I'm not.
I don't know what's Grimlock knocking the whore for. We need the whores.
Whores do serve valuable.
I'm not knocking. Hey, look, I'm not knocking the whores. I'm saying you should legalize it, so at least the fucking tax man could beat them over the head for a little while instead of me all the fucking time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Old Will Smith, for Grimlock and my generation especially, when we were in our formative years, he was the guy. He was, The Rock for a good 10 years was the guy, kind of took his place, but Will was the guy. And he fell off when he made some really bad decisions on roles that he took, and he just kind of fell off, which happens. It happens to everybody. Nobody stays at the top of any industry forever, especially not Hollywood. You're lucky to get 3 or 4 good years, and then after that, it'll be hit or miss, most likely for most people. But Will was that guy. He was the top guy. He was the number one star, which is he is the exact argument for why it's ridiculous. So many of the arguments, quote unquote, that these radical racist lefties say when they say things like, it was hard to be black in America and all this other stuff.
What?
Yeah.
When?
Or no, they never got a chance, or they didn't get the opportunity. I was like, what the fuck? For 20 years, Will Smith was like the guy. He was like the king of Hollywood. He was making more money than everybody for a good 15 of those years. What are you talking about? Like, maybe it's not that you're black. Maybe it's you're an asshole. Did you ever think could it just be that? Could it just be you're an asshole, and that's why people don't want to put up with it?
Dude. So many.
Well, it goes back to part of what I said about him being safe. Part of it is, he was the guy, but for a good while, it looked kind of like how Michael B. Jordan is now, where it just looks like every time you turn around, he's in another fucking movie. It's because he's
I'd
safe.
say Jordan's a better actor, though.
He is, but again, and to be honest, it's not. Let me put it this way: it's not the fault of the audience; it's the fault of the executives in charge. They're racist ass, because they'll go, like I said, and we've seen it. They go safe everything.
Yeah.
So they could have a movie with a black character in mind, and they'll go through the list, and somebody will yell Will Smith, and they go, "Oh yeah," because that's safe.
Yeah.
So that as
I
soon as they
usually
hear
say
Will
Willem
Smith, they
Dafoe, but
they'll eliminate every other name.
yeah. We didn't write it down last time, Thundero. Don't
Uh-oh.
mention Will Smith. You gotta write it down.
Will Smith and Tom Cruise. He doesn't like him.
He don't
Not a
like
fan.
him. Yeah.
I've never been a big fan of either one of them.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I
That's
don't
cool.
have the hatred for Will I do for Tom, but
I don't really have much opinion at all, to be honest with you. He just was kind
I
of
want to
always
swing
there.
at that damn man.
I'm just really, I think what's being done to him is really, really unfair and toxic.
It
I mean,
it is,
Well,
but at the
is
same
it
time, it's like, bro, you're allowing this. You're allowing
one?
this.
Let's start at the beginning. He
I'd
absolutely
have more
has.
respect if he just killed him.
He absolutely has fostered this, permitted this, and created this
he has.
Frankenstein that he's
You're
dealing
right.
with.
Look at his kids; they're an
Two,
absolute mess.
exactly. You can tell by as the Lord Himself once famously said, "You by their fruits you shall know them," and nobody has better fruits than their children. If your children are a mess, sweetheart, you're probably a mess.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his children are more than a mess; they're a disaster. All
They
of them.
are.
An absolute disaster.
Yeah.
So that says something. That says something about his character. It says something about the character of the mother of those children. I don't even think they're married anymore, but he still calls her his wife because that's healthy. It says something about everybody involved there, and I would say it's very rare where people don't get what they deserve, even rich people. See, people take this idea that wealth and things like this have anything to do with morality or being a good person or any of that. No. The world will reward you for being persistent. It doesn't matter if you're good about it or not. However, karma, God, justice, whatever you want to call it, will not. And yeah, maybe you'll get a lot of money, but you're going to pay for it if you're doing it the wrong way or you're doing bad things in the interim or to get it. So I think that's what we're seeing now. The chickens are coming home to roost for Will because he's been living lies. He probably is a homosexual or bisexual, which for a man, that's the same thing. And he just either doesn't want to admit it to himself or doesn't want to admit it because of PR, which is ridiculous because nowadays nobody would care.
Right.
Now, not only would nobody care, he'd get celebrated. He'd get all kinds of, it'd be a reinvigoration of his whole career.
It's big. It's a difference when Auntie comes out and says, "Oh, Johnny's gay," and then all the other white aunties are like, "Oh, that's nice." It's very different than when you go into Big Mama's house and you say, "Little Willie's gay." It's not the same reaction.
It's not, but it doesn't matter. Like Grimlock was saying, Will Smith was popular with white people.
He was
more so than even with black people. I'm not saying he was unpopular with black people necessarily, but white people are what made him. 100%, no question.
That is true. Yeah.
So he'll be fine. He'd be all over Oprah or whatever she's doing now, or the show, whatever show that's taken Oprah's place. He'd be on that. He'd be on The View. He'd be a hero. It'd completely reinvigorate his entire career in a way that hasn't happened since probably Independence Day back in the 90s.
I don't know. Might kill his career.
Nah, he'd be fine. It'd help him so much.
Women are the ones that like him most, dude.
I don't think that's true. I've never known a woman that liked him. Yeah, I think it's dudes. I think he was always like a bro. Like he seemed like a bro. Like you could just hang out with him, play basketball. There were maybe at a time when he was younger where the women were all over him, but he's in his 50s now. He's not. He's not that guy anymore.
Yeah, but people live in amongst
black. I know, but amongst black male celebrities, like even amongst the black women I know, I've never heard any woman say, "I'd leave my man to fuck Will Smith."
So who's the hottie in the black community then?
Depends.
There's plenty. And look, a lot of women would still give Denzel some pussy. Let's start there.
Yeah. Well, Denzel is cool as shit, though. I mean,
a lot of women will, for some reason, fuck Drake, and I don't believe Drake's in the women at all.
No, I thought he was openly gay.
Yeah, that's a gay man right there, 100%. He might not be openly, but he's openly. If you know what I mean. We can tell.
Clearly a gay dude. He's obviously gay. It's like saying, "Did you know Little Nas was gay?" What?
No, could have been.
Stephen Curry is called the babyface assassin for a reason because
they like Stephen Curry, which is hilarious.
Women will openly flirt in front of his wife. That's how strong the
I get that all the time. My wife thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Um,
cashiers for some reason they flirt with me right in front of her all the time.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Shamar Moore will still get women, still moisten the panties of many a black woman.
Mhm.
And he's been around a
I
good
would
long time now.
I don't
He's
even know.
never had
Say
that
that name again.
popularity of
Say it again.
Shamar Moore.
Who?
He's an actor. Like he's Shamar Moore. He's never been like a big actor. Like he's on one of the CBS like cop dramas. I forgot which one it is. Like he's on one of those shows. He's one of the lead actors. But yeah, a lot of women will go for him. Michael B. Jordan has no shortage of puss thrown his way.
look at him.
Probably.
Crying out loud.
Yeah, no, I'm realizing my knowledge of the blacks are less. I know Denzel. I know Bill Cosby. I know the Eddie, of course. Who else do I know?
Well, Bill was getting some. The problem was
That was a sham, dude. He didn't
that's
do
not
anything. It was nonsense.
yeah. We
He was
we
partying.
know it's a sham.
He was partying too hard.
What other
Again, but
what
that
o-
proves my point right there. Like I don't think he ever did anything like illegal. To be honest with you, I
No,
don't think he ever raped anybody or harassed anybody.
no.
But he was still being very immoral and being
Oh well, yeah,
very,
he's been
very
incredibly immoral.
sketchy as hell.
I'm trying
And
to
he got
count the
for it.
blacks that I know. Give me a minute. Let me see here. I know an OJ. I know that one for bad for funny and
Blacks
bad
that
reasons.
I know.
I know that absolute horrible creature that's called Oprah.
I'm gonna laugh if he goes on his Facebook and it's like people you may know, and it's like OJ.
Wow, damn it.
Here's the worst part about what you're saying right now, Chester, is so much of modern, especially black culture, is so gross to normal people, even normal black people. And I bet you a lot of people don't know who like the top people are right now. They probably have a very similar list to you, because a lot of these internet rappers and stuff that get real big and real popular that ain't nobody ever heard of before, but all of a sudden it's a problem when something happens to them.
Yep.
That's all BS. That nobody actually, like, there's no actual clout for these people. They might be making some money, but at the end of the day, you walk into, they're not Snoop Dogg,
Don't know
right?
who
They're
they
not.
are. Yeah, Snoop. There's one.
Yeah, they're not
I
these
know
kind
the
of people.
Snoop.
They're not Ice Cube,
Oh,
right? They're not going to walk down the street and get accosted. You know what I
Herschel
mean?
Walker.
Herschel Walker. Snoop was
He's had
funny
an
the other day, though.
interesting 2
Speaking
years.
of Snoop posted a big meme talking about how he was going to quit smoking, how he's giving up smoke, and he waited a few days, and then he dropped that it was basically just an ad for something, but he had the whole internet, or at least Twitter, going crazy that we don't, no way he's quitting, because Snoop and the smoke are kind of like
Synonymous.
peas in a pod.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not getting separated.
No, it's his thing. Yeah, but see, now I don't know him personally, and I don't pay attention to him, so I don't know what he might have said or not said. But Snoop always seemed like a copacetic fella.
I mean, he just wants to get high.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
I mean, to be fair, and I'll give him Ice Cube, and even LeBron James. I will give this.
Yeah, LeBron.
I've never heard them any big stories about them. Those 3 particular men being whores. They've been married, as far as I know, to the same woman for as long as I can remember. Like I said, even LeBron's been married to his high school girlfriend since he's been in the league. So it's been like 25 something years or so.
Oh, that's cool. That is good.
So,
yeah.
Like, and I'll be honest, I'm not big on celebrity culture like that. Like, Thundaro knows, like, half the time they talk about movies, and I'm like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
But I do remember that Snoop was sipping on gin and juice. I'm not really sure what the juice is.
It depends on the juice of your choice. A lot of people use cranberry juice.
So it's actual juice. I thought it was a metaphor.
Yeah. No,
you got to flavor that gin.
Shit, at one time there was a contract where Seagram's was selling that pre-mixed in the hood.
Oh shit, yeah. Well, though, yeah, I tell you what, one thing, I'm not a hip hop aficionado, but although back in the day it was fun, but it became non-fun very quickly. But
well, that was what I'm saying. That's my point. Is it's become so gross. Not all of it, obviously, but a lot of it is just it's just, I mean, you got, like you were talking about that Nas guy. He's out here literally worshiping the devil. You got
For
all
sure.
the, like, it's just gone. Like, there,
It's just like
most normal
Alice.
people. No, that's way worse than Alice. Alice was a bit. You could tell this ain't a bit. This guy is actually gone.
All right. Okay.
And one, Alice is a good Christian boy. I won't have you smearing
Oh
that
no, I
man's
love me
name.
some Alice Cooper now. Don't be like that.
Uh,
I'm saying it's
but
theater,
also
right?
the point that Alice, exactly, is it's theater. There's a point to it. Grinding your ass on the devil. What's the point there? Like simulating you're being anally fucked by the devil. What's the message, guys? Like I'm pretty good with art. I got a keen eye for art, and all I see is just degeneracy. That's all I get out of that. Just
Yeah.
evil. And that's what a lot of it's become. Like you can watch their concerts. They're gross, man. And I don't mean gross in like I'm not a prude or anything when it comes to sex. I don't care if there's sexuality in it. It's just weird perversion of like all sorts of, from people pissing on each other
What?
to all kinds of shit. Yeah,
What?
all kinds of shit, bro.
That's
Like
a bit
they've gone
much.
way off the deep end. Way off the deep end.
And
I don't
Alice,
think most normal people want anything to do with
No,
it.
you just put a
Yep.
sexy girl in a cage and you're good. You know.
and Alice Cooper gave every child a summer anthem that will live on forever.
That's true. He did do that. Yeah, Alice did a lot of good things. But
Like every kid, I don't care, that song transcends race, class, whatever. Last day of school, that shit blares. I don't give a fuck.
yeah, no, it's a good song. But you know, I was trying to say about Snoop Dogg is, you know, like I said, there's a lot of I hear some of the modern rap and it's just
Trash.
not very
It's trash.
musical anymore. But
Yeah, it's
the one
hard.
thing I really liked about Snoop, and like I said, I don't understand his culture and stuff. I'm not from that, but that you know, I am a musician, and that groove, his groove is really tight, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like his groove. I've heard a bunch of songs. I listened to a couple of his albums, and he's got that shit down, man. It's
Well, he comes
such
from
a
a musical family.
smooth groove. He comes from what?
That's a musical family. A lot of older artists
There you
came
go.
from musical families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
Like
he does
you're
great.
aware, you know that you remember the Gap Band, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Well, Charlie Wilson, that's his actual uncle.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There you go. But I mean, yeah,
See?
I really like Snoop's manner and his sound. It's good.
Yeah.
Even though I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
know what
the
juice was,
the
but now I
older
know it's cranberry.
well,
Yeah.
it can be cranberry. It
Or
can be
orange
anything you
juice
want,
if you
really.
want it.
Yeah.
You don't put gin with orange juice. You put vodka with orange juice.
Listen,
Yes,
any port in a storm, Chester. That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants to drink straight gin. It's fire.
It's really
Nobody
horrible.
wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
horrible.
yeah. I did
Gin's
that. I
horrible.
did that once. I'd never do that dumb shit again.
No, gin's pretty awful.
Holy.
Well, this is what happens when you let the English try to make something that's
It-
edible.
I'm gonna put it this
they
way:
need
you
to be banned from
never
all culinary arts. Just no English.
Never
people.
do it.
We don't.
never do any kind of business deals with anybody who drinks straight gin.
Yeah, no, that's
a
is
hard
rough.
person.
Well, keep in mind, Britain, you know, England's most famous culinary people are either French or Scottish.
Yeah.
They're not English, right?
No.
They got a German that runs around a lot.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Comes storming through, and then they got that one guy. I think he's in London. The guy who's the meme, who puts the gold flakes on his meat. I can't remember his name, but
Salt
I mean,
Bay?
yeah, that guy.
Yeah,
he
but
makes
he's from Istanbul, though. Maybe he's in
yeah,
London
that's what I'm saying.
now. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's in London, but he's not he's not British or English at
Mhm.
all. He's from somewhere else, and he makes. If you have enough money that you can spend like $20,000 on one meal, you got too much money.
It's true.
That's just the end of it. That's too much money.
Dude, he made a lot of money off a stupid little meme, though.
Yep.
I mean, good
Smart.
for him.
Hey, he ain't dumb.
He
I'm not
dumb.
saying he's dumb. He's just not British.
You know, the thing is, if you go to that restaurant in Istanbul that he's from, right, that all this started from, if you go there, they still do the gold on the things. The waiters still put their hand up and do the salt bouncing off the elbow. They still do it. So,
Crazy.
yeah, it's a
And
thing.
that's what the people are coming for. So you gotta keep it going. No?
I guess if I
How
were
can
going to
you?
go to Istanbul, that would be the last place I would go.
Oh my gosh, there's so much.
There's so much good food
You
there, dude.
you get lost in there for
Hmm.
years. Like, you could just so easily. It's oh man, the history is just. When I was in Jerusalem, you can just feel it. I talk about this a lot, but I understand why, we have this belief as humans in spirit and
Hmm.
spirits. Because if you go to a genuinely ancient place, you know it. You can feel it. It's in the air, it's in you. There's this weird energy and electricity all around you in those ancient walls. And Jerusalem's one of the pretty old one. Don't get much older. Uh, and it's crazy when you go to the old city of Jerusalem. It's still there, still basically the same as it's been for thousands of years. They have the walls and stuff still, everything.
Sure.
It's an experience. You have to experience it. There's no way to describe it. It's
You know,
incredible.
it's
And I'd
interesting.
imagine Istanbul is very similar in
Oh
many
yeah, it's an
parts.
ancient city, right? Um,
Yeah.
but it's interesting you mentioned Jerusalem because, um, when you have Jews and Christians trying to connect the past to their history, the Bible,
Yep.
right, the Torah. Um, there's many examples throughout history, obviously, but Nineveh is probably the most stable one. Nineveh
Yep.
is in modern day Iraq, but Nineveh was a very, very serious city. It would literally, according to the Bible, it took 3 days to cross it.
Mhm.
That's a big city, right?
Pretty large.
Very large. And of course, we have the ruins of the inner city still, and that's been excavated quite extensively. And of course, they found the Grand Hallway and talking about the destruction of Lidesh, or
Mhm.
I think it was what it was called, Lishta or Lideshta or something like that. But this was like the second most powerful, city in Judea. And of course, he is praised on that. But when he went to Jerusalem, of course, in the Bible, it says that he failed. Matter of fact, they say God killed 108,000 of his men overnight, if you guys remember this Bible story.
I do.
However, this is always, that's just superstitious nonsense of the Jubies. Well, did you know that recently they found another little cellar library in Nineveh? There's a couple
Uh-oh.
little excavations still going on over there in Nineveh, and in there they found some more tablets, and in there it talks about the failure to take Jerusalem.
Interesting.
Mm, very interesting. It's always good when history connects with oral history.
I wonder if Jerusalem is one of those nexus, like the ground underneath of it. You know how there's
Maybe.
these I can't remember what they're called, but I'll just call it a nexus, where there's this convergence of all different kinds of energy that we don't really fully understand why it exists. And there's certain places in the world where you can do things that are just abnormal, simply because the flow of the current of the natural currents of the earth, of the energy of the earth, is just stronger or different or whatever there. And like we all understand that this is real because we all have magnets and compasses, and they'll do different things, especially if you put them near each other. However, certain places in the world, there's extreme concentration of this, and you can, like, I've seen videos of, and this, as far as I know, is all real. You can lift things that there's no way you should be able to lift, and it's strictly just because of gravitational energy or whatever. But I wonder if there's something similar to that there, and in other very interesting places that, for various reasons, just last. They just don't go away.
Yeah.
Uh, because Jerusalem is something has been there for a very long time. Uh, and that's interesting to me because, like you said, Nineveh, massive city, gone, gone.
Yeah.
Multiple massive cities are just all throughout Egypt, gone, just gone.
Well,
Never,
the
like they never even
Babylonians
happened.
kind of put that in the ground, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But my point is that happens a lot.
Hmm.
Istanbul is a great example. That's built on top of Constantinople and largely still is Constantinople. Uh, and that's all over the world, probably even here, like you said, with the mud floods and things that we've seen. They just kind of built on top of it and didn't.
They
That
did.
was it. They just moved
Or
on with their life.
or just built new stairways on the second level. Yeah, that
Yeah.
that's a missing piece of our history that we need to look into more. There's clearly something going on. I mean, when you talk about that, I mean, now you got me on a tangent. Okay. But But when you look at that now, if you look at science, they'll tell you that every year you gain 1/10 of a millimeter of topsoil, right?
Hmm.
Therefore, if you gain if you find a meter of dirt on top of something, that's 10,000 years old. Now, if you look at
Roughly,
every
yeah.
damn site in the world where all these archaeologists are, how deep are they? 3, 4
I don't know.
meters consistently across the whole
Sure.
planet. So we're talking 30, 40,000 years ago. But yet this was supposed to be an Anglo-Saxon spot, or this was supposed to be some Roman
Right.
bath or something like that. And they're like, well, we know that's not 40,000 years ago. So what's
So
going
something's
on?
wrong.
Why is it all
No.
underground? Why is it all buried? It is strange, but there's a
But
lot of
then,
things
but
like that.
that's also to my point. There's certain places where that it still has that, but people just stay for whatever reason. And what we
Mhm.
call the Holy Land today, I mean, three major religions fight over it. There's a reason for that. It's not just because there's a bunch of books written about it. Why were those books written about it? You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's something going on at a deeper level when it comes to the way the Earth functions as a giant spinning electromagnet. And we don't fully understand that. And
No.
I genuinely think that a big part of it, a big part of why we're attracted like moths to certain places is that energy. Because like for me, I love the mountains. I love it. I want to live in the mountains. I want to live always in mountains. Every time I'm in mountains, I feel better. I feel more energy. I'm stronger. Everything. Like I just feel better when I'm in the mountains. And other people have places where it's different for them, but they have the same thing. Why? I live in Ohio. It don't get much flatter than this. This is about it. So why do the mountains have that effect on me? And the only thing I can figure is because, I've got a lot of Austrian in me. There's a lot of mountains over in Austria, especially where my name comes from. Most
Mhm.
likely that's where my family comes from, is right there in the Alps. That makes sense to me. But
Yeah,
my
maybe.
point is, why are people are like this? We have this innate, all of us do have this innate. Some people can't stand being in a city. They can't stand it. It drives them insane. They don't want to be around all those people, even if it's not like a big New York city, just a city in general. There's a reasons for this, and I think a lot of it is to do with our ability to receive energy from this planet that we don't understand, and that scientists all wave away, like you said, as superstition. And I don't think it is. I think there's something going on. I think our connection to the cosmic forces is much deeper than we realize.
Oh no.
But humans in our
Yeah.
hubris, we think we're outside of all that.
Well, we are electrical. And the
Yep.
world is in the universe is electrical, so we know electricity interacts with each other. So I'm sure there's plenty of stuff to that. It's like when someone's looking at you from behind, even
Oh
though
yeah.
they're at a distance. Well, technically, your electrical fields are touching. I mean,
Right.
really, if we think about it. But Jerusalem itself is, of course, a very interesting city. Modern times, they will pronounce, or excuse me, they will define Jerusalem as the foundation of peace.
Hmm.
But that's not actually what it. If you go back to the ancient language, which it's been called that for a very long time, what it actually means is um, Yara or Yaru means to throw up, to cast up, to go up, to travel up, right? And
Interesting.
Shalem, people say today meaning peace, but that's not the original root. The original root is talking about the heaven ships, the God ships,
Mm.
right? It's a Shalem, right, or a Shem.
Hmm.
So technically, in the ancient language, Jerusalem means the place where the heavenly ships go up. That's how it translates.
Hey, I'm just saying, if you had ships that probably would have some sort of gravimetric drive
Mhm.
in order to get out of atmosphere and do great distance travel in space, you might want a energy convergence, a nexus of energy for your
Maybe. Let me
your
check.
launching.
I'm sure there's all kind of witchy type people that have maps of ley lines. Let's see.
Yep.
Map of Earth ley. How do you spell that? That's Ley.
Um,
Lines. I don't know. Have I ever looked at one of these before? Ooh, they got many of them. Let me see here. Well, would you look at that? There's a giant one
Uh-oh.
right in the little place we call Egypt, and it goes
Hmm.
right through that little one that we call Jerusalem.
Funny how that
Interesting.
works.
And on that same line, which of course back in the day was our equator, because do keep in mind we've been tilted 33 degrees. Let's see what
Yep.
else is on that line. Oh, look, Machu Picchu is there. Well, that's nice. We have the Nazca. We have Easter Rapa Nui, Easter Island. Oh, that's nice. We have Mohenjo-Daro, whatever that's called. Of course, Giza's right there. Oh, that's an interesting line. There's a lot of interesting things on that line. But yeah, Jerusalem's right on
Mhm.
that line. So there
There
you
you
go.
go.
I went and I found it. I did my researches.
See, I'm just saying. I'm just saying we don't understand the world like we think.
Hmm.
And I think the energy flow that we absolutely know the Earth gives off, unbelievable amounts of energy, in fact,
Sure.
barely fathomable. How could that not affect us? How
No,
could
no,
it
it makes
not?
sense. It
There's no
makes sense.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that's not really a tinfoil talk conversation, I think. I think that makes a lot of sense. The interesting thing, a lot of people go on because, we did get hit really hard. We've had led a lot of bad cataclysms on this planet, but that 12,000 years ago was pretty bad. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
And it literally tilted the planet. And but if you go look at the old equator, and you look at everything that's on it, people like try to get all tinfoil talky about it, right? But the reality is, you got to keep in mind that humans are an ice age creature. We're not of the because most of Earth's history, at least what the ice tells us, was a lot warmer. We're not in that. And that's not our existence. Our existence is in these ice ages. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, and you're in an ice age, well, where's the best place to be? The warmer area. Where is that? Well, it's the equator. So it's not surprising at all that we have so many of these civilizations along the equator now, or in the old equator in the past. It makes perfect sense, right? That's where people would gather because it's warmer, right?
Yeah.
It's not shocking to me. A lot of things people get all tinfoil talky about. For me, it's not that shocking, right?
No.
It's kind
It's
of
because we have
obvious.
this yeah, this hubris. Humans genuinely on a basic level, a lot of humans have a deep conceitedness about them. And because of this, we think that we're outside of the natural order. We think that human chaos. We have all these things called chaos theory and all this stuff that they're just unknowable. You never know what people are going to do. Yeah, no, maybe in the interpersonally, but when you expand out, it's pretty easy to figure out what people. Right, they're going to go where the food is. They're going to go where the water is. They're going to go where the not freezing cold is if they can. It's very simple. Like it's not complicated. People are people. They need certain things, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of, like you said, a lot of the tinfoil stuff is very much more easily explained by people just doing people things. And a lot of people just genuinely don't either understand themselves or they don't understand patterns. They don't understand percentages, statistics. A lot of people don't understand per capita, and because of this, they see outliers and they act like those outliers have more meaning than they do. No, it's just an outlier. If you look at the curve, the actual way that the pattern is going, it's most likely going to follow between the most logical points because I mean that's what logic is. Outliers to those are largely irrelevant. That's
Mhm.
We have a society, especially now. Especially my generation, we were raised that we're all special. We're all special little snowflakes. Uh-huh. We're not though. We're not that special. Most of us are very, 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 very normal, very, very common, and there's very little specialness to us. That's just the truth of it. You don't have to like it, but it's true. And the vast majority of people will die and be forgotten within months of their death. Also true. And there's nothing wrong with that. People get all in their emotions about it because, like I said, conceited, arrogant. This idea that our lives matter and have great meaning. Most of our lives don't. They just don't. It's just the truth,
It's
and
true.
that's fine. It's not a bad thing. If it was a bad thing, then I don't even know what to say to you. It's not a bad thing. Not everybody can be
That's true.
a pharaoh,
Well,
or even most pharaohs are forgotten, for crying out loud. Like, you see what I'm saying?
that's no,
Most
no,
people
vast
don't matter.
majority. I can name many, many famous people you've never heard of.
Yeah,
But to keep in
yeah.
mind, Grimlock, just keep in mind how when we're talking about who is important and who's not, just remember there's a guy. His name is Ronald. He used
McDonald.
to be a farmer. That guy is known all over the world.
Yeah,
His life definitely matters.
it's
Yeah,
true.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of the people that are going right now today, the people that exist, I would say probably, if you stopped and thought about it honestly, in 500 years, maybe 3 or 4 other people that we know of, that we talk about or think about ever, will be even ever mentioned.
No,
Even
it's
mentioned.
yeah. Well, think of history now.
Yeah.
Just the short history of America. Who do we remember? We remember most people can probably tell you who George Washington was.
Uh,
Maybe some can tell you who Abraham Lincoln was. What other
Ben
Americans do
Franklin.
they know? I mean, most of them can name you those two, but can they name anyone else? I mean, we can,
Well,
but
considering the stupidity of the average American, you might not even get those.
Yeah, that's
maybe. But
true.
I'm just saying that even in that, if you think about the history of America, as short as it is, it's not hadn't been that long. But even in that time
Yeah,
frame, there's only a few handful of people that the average person could name, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
these are
that,
people
That is
who founded a country, quite literally carved out a nation uh, from another nation.
oh yeah,
I mean, you would, when you think about it, compared to whether or not you went to work that day, I think one has a much bigger, much grander scale, yeah, scope.
yeah, no,
But
sure,
yet,
yeah.
the vast majority of the founders, I don't know all their names. If I sat and thought about it for a while without looking, I probably could come up with them, but I don't know them off the top of my head. Most people have no idea the people who signed the Declaration of Independence. They have no idea who the leaders of the military were who won the Revolutionary War. Um, I would say most people don't even realize how what role the French played in it. I mean, we under some, a lot of people have no conceptualization of these things because they don't really matter to them, because it's not going to directly affect their life today. It happened so long ago, blah 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 blah, right? People are very very simple complex creatures, meaning we all want basically the same things because we're living things and we want to live. But other than that, that's where it starts to get a little tricky, I think. But because of that, only the people who are willing to give up the simple things, who choose to be exceptional and abnormal, some of them don't even choose it, they just are, will have even a chance at being remembered 100 years from now, 500 years from now, 1,000 years from now. And those people, as they're alive, are typically considered weird. They're not popular in their own lifetime, or if they are, it's more, what can you do for me? Less, I think you're cool. Um, the reality of it is, even people like Leonardo, uh, pick an inventor, pick a musician, any of them that you can name, were weirdos. They were abnormal. They weren't your normal person. They weren't anything close to normal, and they didn't want to be. They knew what they were, and they chose to be that. So the vast majority of people are fairly normal. Therefore, the vast majority of people will be forgotten. It's just the way it is. And I think it's probably a good thing, because not everybody can be Leonardo da Vinci, right? They just can't. He was a special man for various reasons, but he was a very special individual. Not everybody can be Nikola Tesla. Not everybody can be, I don't know, pick some George Washington. You just can't. And those names will live for a very, very long time,
Hmm.
especially now that Tesla Motor Company exists. Um, and I think the people like that are very hard to erase. It'd be real hard to erase George Washington. It'd be
Sure,
real
but
hard to do,
keep
especially
in
with
mind
America.
that our founding fathers, there were 119 of them.
Yes,
So I
correct.
have a feeling that most people probably couldn't even name five.
Yeah, that's probably very true. I would venture to guess that most Americans don't even know that Ben Franklin was never president.
Yeah,
He is on the $100 bill, and he was never a elected member of the United States government.
that'd have been a party
He was an
though.
ambassador. Oh my gosh, would have been. But and the weird thing is out of all the founders, when you look at like his overall philosophy on life or morality, he was probably the closest to a modern person.
Oh yeah, no, he was
Because
Hellfire Club dude, man.
yeah, yeah, and not just the degeneracy, but even like he was anti-slavery. He was fairly pro equality for pretty much everybody. Stuff like that, like stuff that a lot of people would take today, especially lefties, and they love. They're all about. They're always singing it, especially all the weird sex. They're all about it. Ben Franklin should be their guy. He was also one of the smartest men to ever live. He was brilliant.
Yeah, he was.
Um,
That's true.
so it's just I don't know. Anyway, my rant is about how
I,
useless most people are and how most people will never be remembered. There's your
I,
white pill for the day.
I don't think these people could be as creative as degenerate Ben Franklin.
No, he was a degenerate for sure. But if you do go look at the founding fathers and their family names, you might be surprised who you see running amongst the politicians today. It's almost as if it's a legacy job.
Oh,
Oh,
uh-oh.
oh,
Which is interesting because as far as we know, the man that they call the father of this country, George Washington, didn't have any kids. He was infertile. As far as we know, that's the story anyway that we're told. I don't know how true it is, but that's the story.
oh, didn't he get like shot in the
Um,
dick or something?
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, too
Get
bad
in
didn't
here,
have
boy.
Lady Chatterley around. Nah, that was a deep cut. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have gone that deep. That was too deep. Yeah, that was too deep. That's what you call a triple entendre there, Grimlock.
Chester, I have it under good authority that if there's something you do not want to do,
Mhm.
it's going to probably enrage you,
Mm.
is go watch that Napoleon movie because
Oh, I
I
won't.
understand it is an absolute disaster.
No,
An
I have a
absolute disaster.
I have a history podcast that I listen to, and it's
Mhm.
actual historians, real ones,
Yeah.
and they're a little bit fringy, as much as they can get away with, right?
Sure.
And they did a review on that. I watched like the day after they came out because they were all excited about it, and they were, let's see, what's the word I should choose? Incensed. That's the word. Yeah. Because not only is it historically just absolute disaster, the whole movie is a disaster
Yeah.
historically. It's what did he call it? Um, he called it. He said that they should have named it Josephine and the Little Angry Man. That's what he said. And this is a historian talking, right? Not a movie reviewer, right?
Right.
But they went over it at length, why it was what every little thing that was wrong. I mean, because little things like we historians are a little bit pedantic. I don't know if you noticed this, but
No.
like there's a scene, a famous thing where he's in one of his squares and they get attacked. They get flanked in from the right side. It's just a famous moment in a battle. But even that they had it backwards. The flank came in from the left. So even the little things like just what location this famous flank came in on was wrong. Everything was wrong.
Right.
And of course
That's
Josephine,
crazy.
she was his wife. I mean, and they had a torrid love affair. But you got to keep in mind, this guy Napoleon, he was freaking, this guy was out of control. He had so many mistresses, so many, and he had children with a lot of them. Right?
Yep.
Josephine was the last thing in his life. Even his famous quote, what did he say? War, country, something, and Josephine. Meaning she was the least important thing to him, right? And
Right.
he was referring to her just to mean women, right? But this movie basically it's
Which,
all about
which,
Josephine. It's like, have you ever read a history book about Napoleon?
which meant that man said, "I would rather go to war and risk death than go home to that nagging bitch."
That pretty much, yeah. I mean, this guy was horrible though. Napoleon was a real bad dude. He was truly a monster. Um, like for instance, he heard that Josephine had yet taken another lover, which is something she did quite quite frequently to piss him off, right? So what did
Mhm.
he do? He just at the time in the camp, one of one of his general's wives was visiting, and he just took her and fucked her. This is Napoleon. And you're going to
Yep.
put a movie where he's this whining, whingy little thing to every desire that Josephine wants? Dude, that is not Napoleon. And I
No.
guarantee you the French are pissed.
Napoleon is one of good, morally aside, one of the most impressive men to ever live. What he accomplished, what he was able to accomplish, not once, twice.
Twice. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like George Foreman.
that is amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. There's just no way to when you throw him on the scale of history to not put him as one of the greatest men in
Oh, no,
history.
he is. I mean, but he was a
And
bad human, though.
but he was a
Um,
terrible person,
yeah, he was
an
a horrible
absolute
person.
monster, like you said. There was very little to any goodness in that man. He was born for one thing, and he did it beautifully, and
He
that was
did.
war.
Well, and the thing is, you can see a big difference. Like, I have inadvertently studied a lot of military strategy in my life, right?
Hmm.
Not because I'm a militarist, but simply because of history, right? And the
Right.
simple fact is, when I see these modern generals and their conversations and the shit they say, it's like, man, you are a pale comparison. Napoleon would have you frickin' drawn and quartered.
Yep.
That's what these modern generals are, big great generals. Napoleon would not allow them to exist in his presence. Because when
No.
you go look at the military strategy and training and capability these men had, it's impressive. It's impressive. But you also have this general concept of, Le Grand Armée, the Great Army, France, is that if you're 30, this is a quote coming from Napoleon, I think it was Napoleon, or maybe one of his generals. Maybe it was Lanes, maybe it was Marshal Lanes. But he said that if you're 30 years old in the Grand Army and you're not dead, you're a coward.
Psychotic.
That's rough, dude. That's
Yeah,
rough.
that's psychotic.
That is rough. Well,
But that's how they were, and here's the reality of it. It worked.
it did.
If it wasn't for the facts, there was many things that contributed to it, but largely he fell into the old trap of the Great Bear, and that kind of what did him in when he fell into the bear.
Well,
But he had a
yeah,
few
no, you're right.
losses
But,
here or there that
well,
he didn't win everything all the
I would
time,
say
but
his downfall started in Spain.
probably, yeah,
That's really
that's probably true.
that's really where things started going south. Yeah.
But had he had a little bit more temperance when it came to his desire to conquer and conquest, his lust for power, there would have been very little anyone could do to stop him. But he was
Yeah.
so adamant about it, right? It was
Yeah,
his
they
whole
never know
life's
when to
purpose.
stop. That's true.
Yeah,
That is a problem.
yeah. Had he just pulled back for probably only a couple years, just chilled out and let things stabilize, I think he would have probably been fine. But he
Mhm.
couldn't do that. He had to just keep pushing. And you said something about our current generals. That always makes me think of the quote: "The society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting done by fools." And
Yeah.
that's where we're not. That's where we're at. These
Well,
people are not
We're
intelligent.
at the full
They're
stage.
not. They're not philosophers of any kind. They're not deep thinkers, and you can see it. Like you can tell when somebody's got something going on behind their eyes. You can see it,
oh
right?
yeah.
They give that off. These people are dead. They're order followers to the core, and all they do is do what they're told, and they do it
Mhm.
better. All they do is do what they're told better than the person next to them, and that's how they keep moving up the ladder.
And
That's it.
the few colonels and generals I've seen that do have some wherewithal have been kicked out.
Yep.
They've been
Yeah,
removed.
they get them out of there
Yeah.
because they're a threat. You see, they're a
Yeah,
threat
because
to the
yeah,
bureaucracy, so we
that's
can't
true.
have that.
Yeah.
Get them out.
Oh wow. But yeah, no, I did hear about it, and I shan't be watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't recommend it.
But
I don't recommend
as you mentioned that I did bring up some stuff I want to talk about today, and it involves that.
it.
So why don't I just jump over to it? Um,
Here's a good question. When is the last time they've done like a movie, like a history piece like that, where it's actually good?
Master and
That's a good
Commander.
question. Master and Commander. Yeah, that's probably the best one in the
That was
modern era.
20. That was what 21 years ago.
It was a long
Something like
time
that.
ago. Yeah, that was a good
Don't worry,
run.
they're putting out a prequel now. Don't worry,
Oh,
it's
God.
coming from Disney. It's coming.
Of course.
No, Master and Commander is
Mhm.
one of the most underrated films ever made. It's phenomenal, truly
It
phenomenal.
is really
It's a
good.
near masterpiece.
There's a few Russian war movies that are actually really well done. There's a famous, I forget, it might have been Russia. I don't think so. There's talk about Napoleon, one of the greatest war movies ever made. It was about was called Waterloo. Um,
Yep.
but no, it's been quite a while, Grimlock. It's been quite a while.
Now,
But
I
Yes.
would say, even though it's not accurate, I would say Ridley's best work is still Gladiator. I love Gladiator, even though it's ahistorically silly. But as a movie, if you take away the history of it and just make it a fantasy, because that's basically what it is, it's phenomenal.
are you talking about the
Russell
300-year
Crowe at his peak.
disparity? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's not historically accurate, and people get all up with their feelings
really
about it.
not.
It's like, no, it doesn't have to be. It didn't
No, it
say it
doesn't.
was. What do we
It's
calm
not
down?
about that. It's about standing up for what's right. It's just
Yes.
very simple. But that's once again another of that Australian, possibly New Zealand guy. What's his name again? Russell
Russell Crowe.
Crowe. Yeah, he's in both those
He
movies.
for a long time, he was by far the best actor going.
He was
I mean,
killing.
he won like he was killing it with Oscars. He was just sweeping them constantly.
Yeah,
It
I
was
don't care
silly.
about that, but yeah, he was a really good actor. But I'm looking here. We got their dailies, and they're not making a lot of money. But looking at the weekend, the big taker with 21 million, which is not a lot, is Beyonce's Renaissance.
A whole bunch of white women love that, I'm sure.
I'm sure. But she didn't take much money. Hunger Games didn't do nothing. Godzilla actually made quite a bit of money comparatively.
Yeah.
Trolls, and then, of course, bringing up the rears, that old little old Wish.
Oh, Disney. I don't know how Disney's going to stay in business. I genuinely don't. Like they are just bleeding money.
Yeah,
It's a
bad.
mortal wound. It has to be.
It is bad. But you see
Oh, don't worry.
Napoleon over
Them
here.
pulling their advertisements from Twitter is going to save. Is going to save the company.
Maybe.
That's
Napoleon fell right off. It's
hard,
just gone,
'cause it's
and
bad.
that's a shame. It's a shame because that should be a great movie.
Well,
Napoleon's
because
life
Joaquin
is
is
insane.
capable. But the whole
Oh,
movie,
Joaquin's
he's
amazing.
whispering, and it's like, you do realize that
He
Napoleon
was a commander
Bonaparte motivated millions of people. That dude was
to
a
kill for
serious
him
ass speaker.
and die for him. He could talk, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he just walked in and just, looked at people and they're like, I'm going to die for you. No. He convinced them that it was the right thing to do. And he was good at it. Very good at it, in fact.
Very good at it. But if we look what's coming up, we got the Fall Guy, which we saw, and that looks pathetic. Saltburn, don't know clue. Dune, I really don't care.
All that's telling me is that if we ever go to war again, we need to resurrect Dusty Rhodes, make him our general, and he's going to cut a promo on the other country, and we're going to just wipe them off the fucking face of the earth.
That is right. That's what we need. Good promos. But if you look for this year, the top movies, they're not making the money they used to. Barbie is up top there. Mario being really close to it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has made quite a bit of money, kinda. Guardians, Oppenheimer, kinda. But keep in mind that Mario and Oppenheimer were more popular worldwide than they were in America. So, is there a Disney movie in here? There's Guardians.
Guardians, yeah, but that's the third one of the only franchise within the MCU that's kind of its own beast, and was the last
people still cared
popular
about.
one. Yeah, it was the last one that had popularity that people were interested in. Even my wife and Adrian's wife dragged us to go see it because they wanted to see it. So, like, that still had that. There's nothing they've got now. It's like, that's it. That was it. That was their last shot, and it didn't even crack $1 billion. So, yeah, Disney's in trouble.
Well, it's interesting that we have so many of these singer movies. We got the Taylor Swift, we got the Justin Bieber, and now we have the Beyonce. Does
Yep.
she have a family name, or is she just like you know,
She is
Prince?
just Beyonce. Yep.
All right.
I've forgotten what her
No, I'm
actual
joking. Her
last
name
name
is
is. Somebody,
Knowles. Her name is Beyonce Knowles. Yes.
I actually forgot.
I remember because she came out with TLC, I think it was.
No, Destiny's Child.
Destiny's
Destiny's
Child, that
Child.
one,
Yep.
Destiny's
Yep.
Child.
Yep. Yep.
And the thing now, I remember her career. I've seen her career, whole thing, and good for her. She seems to be a good performer. But I remember that there was, Destiny's Child, TLC, and several other groups came
No,
out, and they were trying to take the throne that was vacated by their own choice of In Vogue, a lady group who was phenomenal, phenomenal.
the last great female group.
And I remember listening to TLC and Destiny Child was like, oh, this is very, very poor replacement.
Well,
Very
no, well,
poor.
TLC was something different. They wasn't trying to do what En Vogue was doing. It was something a little bit different. They was more. I would say there was more hip hop than there was more of a blend of hip hop than
But
En Vogue, where
they were pushing them
where
that way,
those
though.
girls
Yeah.
were En Vogue. Every one of those girls would have could have went solo then, and if they was in their prime today, would wipe the floor
Oh,
with
those
a lot
girls
of
were
these
really
R&B
good.
singers.
They were really, really good.
Yeah.
So we did.
The problem was that the record company was royally fucking them, and when one of
Yes, they
them
do.
spoke out about it, 8 cents on the dollar to be split 4 ways with a band, with a group that was the most popular group at the time. Yeah, I would have said something too. I don't blame, a lot of people back then, because no internet, the narrative was, oh, she's just a volatile bitch. No, if we're making 8 cents on the dollars and it's being split 4 ways, and we just put out 3 number 1 albums in a row.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say something. I get it.
Well, that's what these companies do. It's just like banks and it's
So
just
yeah,
like governments and their taxation. You do realize it's not very long ago, not long at all, like in the
Mm.
19th century, that if you were to charge more than 10% interest or taxation on anything, it was a crime called usury,
As it should
right?
still be.
Just a very little time ago. And now what are we up to? If you
yes,
calculate it all together, all
shit.
the little death
Nowadays,
taxes and all that stuff together, what are you paying? You're
Yep.
paying, what,
not,
50 plus percent?
Yep.
nowadays people be like, "Oh, your interest is only 17%. That's good."
Yep.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is ridiculous.
No,
But
there's absolutely no, in the modern day, with electronic everything, there's absolutely no justification for interest charges to exist on 95%, and I mean that exact number, of private lines of credit. I'm including
Yeah,
mortgages, I'm including car payments, I'm including all of it. The only reason it exists is because one, it's always existed, so people just keep doing it, and two, so they can fleece money out of unsuspecting people or just people in general.
yeah,
The fact that you get a mortgage, most people get a 30-year mortgage. First of all, it shouldn't be 30 years. 15 should be the legal maximum. Second of all, there should be no interest being allowed to be extracted from that because effectively what you end up doing on most mortgages is you pay double. You end up paying double or close to double or sometimes even more than double for that property if you take it to the whole 30 years or the whole term. And some mortgages even have penalties if you pay too much too soon. That sort of stuff should be absolutely illegal.
oh, then,
Period.
dude,
End of. No question. And it
that is a
used to be.
long conversation. You're touching the tip of the iceberg. It's way uglier
Yes.
than all of that.
Oh,
But
I'm aware.
yeah, but stay on track here with the movie thing. We can see with some of these bigger movies that there is money to be had. We can see there is
Yep.
money in the market. But this has been a bad year. Look at this, dude. Look
Terrible
at
year.
this, dude. Very bad year. And keep in mind, ticket prices are up. What are you guys paying for tickets now?
Well, the last movie I went to, and this is again in Ohio where things are cheaper. We have one of the lowest costs of living in the, I think the lowest in the country. If not, it's real close. Uh, I believe if you go on an opening night, it's like $12 or $15 a ticket, depending on which theater. If you go to the nicer theaters, it's obviously more money.
Wow.
You go to the ones that are a little bit
That's
less. It's just
2.5 times what I paid when I lived in America.
yeah,
And I
exactly.
lived in
It
a
just
very expensive
20 years
place.
ago that was just 20 years ago that's double easily what we were paying.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, it's a problem, and that's cheap. Most places I've heard, especially the big cities, you're paying like $20-$30 a ticket,
Yep.
which is outrageous.
That's
Outrageous.
really
And
going
that's
up.
before you buy the popcorn.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's before the
But
$10 popcorn.
look at down here on the bottom. This is a Disney movie, Strange World. Total 1.1 million total.
Yep.
That's no, and they made more money worldwide, but this is domestic, right? That's insane that a Disney movie would make that little. Knights of the Zodiac look pretty bad, but that's a super ultra B movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make. I don't know if their budget was small for those B movies. That's like asylum type movie, right? But that's where
Pretty
it's
much.
sitting right next to. It's sitting next to a freaking asylum movie, a Disney movie. Wow. Wow. But anyway, we know this year has been horrible. However, a lot of people are saying movie fatigue. They can just watch at home and streaming and all that kind of stuff. And there might be some truth to that. But still, the
No,
fact of the matter is,
there.
there is money here. There is money here.
Yeah. Well, like you said, people are keeping their money to spend other elsewhere because I don't know if you followed it. They had the whole Black Friday sales and whatnot last week, and I saw a report
Hmm.
where they said people spent a record uh 9.8 billion in online sales during
Wow.
over the past week. So, like you said, there's money there. It's
There
that
is money
people,
there. Yeah.
one, are staying home because why get up and drive somewhere? Because a lot of people like Thunder said, a lot of people don't live in cities. They don't live in places where things are the utmost convenience. So why would anybody take their hard-earned money, especially with the economy being what it is,
Uh-huh.
get up, drive, however, to their nearest movie theater, spend anywhere between what $12 to $30 on a ticket, and that's just if you're going by yourself. God forbid you're taking a date, your wife, or you have a family.
Hmm.
So you're spending anywhere between what 12 to $100. Oh, to watch a movie where you get preached at and told you're an idiot for being born a certain race or a certain gender
Right. Yeah.
because
That's the
because
main problem.
it was made with an intersectionalist feminist focus group in mind
Hmm.
that doesn't even make up 1% of the population.
Yep. No, we know it's ridiculous, and it's a huge amount of money is being burned here, especially the money lost. So I thought I would take a look and see what's coming, what might be interesting looking forward. So, of course, they're talking about the Godzilla movie, which is doing well for the amount they spent. I don't know who you are, dude. Okay. Silent Night, don't know anything about it, but down here. The Boys, not interested. Fallout kind of looks woke to me. I don't know. People are saying it's woke. I have no clue.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be woke.
Yeah.
It's written by I can't remember now. My brain just lost it, but it's absolutely going to be woke as hell. The people behind it are radical leftists,
Hmm.
radical. So yeah, it's
So,
going to be terrible,
yay.
and it has a female lead. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
nah.
Which
I'm
didn't
good.
used to
I'm good.
matter, but now it does, right?
Oh, it matters now. Holy shit,
Yeah,
does
because
it matter now?
they've made it as, like you said, there used to be a time where that didn't bother us. In fact, a lot of us wanted the female lead because hey, even if the show sucks, we got something to look at, and you don't even have that now. So
Yeah, that's true.
mm,
The Stranger Things, I really don't care. Roadhouse remake,
nobody wants
they
that.
streamed it. They did a preview on someone's yacht. Yeah, go away. Last of Us, no, thank you. Percy Jackson, my kids like the first one or two. No
First one's
idea what
pretty
that
cool.
is. Godzilla, of course. Family Guy and Metal Gear Solid are coming to Fortnite. Oh,
Yeah.
so it looks like they're making a new, uh, um, well, I guess it's not Mad Max, Furiosa, and it's got Chris Hemsworth in it being violent, insane, and brutal.
Well,
Okay.
that's good because the last Mad Max movie wasn't a Mad Max movie either.
No, it
So
wasn't.
that's
No,
fine.
that's true.
Yeah.
The Golden Bachelor, Marriage or So. What? Okay. Um, don't know. Godzilla, of course. The Boys, don't care. House of the Dragon, people seem to like it. I didn't watch it. Squid Game, didn't watch it. My wife liked it though.
I hear Squid Game's really good, but I've never seen it. Now, I
Lawman,
saw this.
Bass Reeves.
I
Go
saw
ahead.
this. We've been talking about Bass Reeves for years on here, why they never make anything, and apparently
Yeah.
Paramount Plus did, and I didn't even know it.
And I like this
I gotta
actor,
check this out.
actually.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
They only started advertising it a few weeks ago. Like all of a sudden, it just came out of nowhere. Watch Bass Reeves on Paramount Plus. I was like, oh, okay.
David
I hope it's
Oyelowo
good.
is his name. I know I've seen this guy. He's a good actor. And of course Bass Reeves is, actually a black dude.
Yeah, like a black dude.
Really, really.
And
Yeah.
he was a badass.
He
so
was.
hopefully the show's good.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. Oh, look, they got a whole bunch
And
of
this,
stuff. They got a bunch
listen,
of episodes. We gotta
here's
watch that.
here's the perfect thing about it. All the preaching they do about how hard it is to be black, they can do it in that show, and it makes sense because at the time it wasn't necessarily great to be black in America.
Well, it depends.
It would
where
make
you
a lot
were.
of sense there in the time. Well, true. Especially what he was dealing with. It makes a lot more sense in that time place. It's a piece, a period piece type show, Western things, and it makes a lot more sense there than it does in modern America, which is silliness.
I got my review up. I got my review up here. Severe lack of use of N word. 1 out of 10.
Wow. All right.
That's funny. Oh, there better be some. I mean, for crying out loud, we got a movie set in the 1800s. Somebody better be getting dropped N-bombs on left and right, is all I'm saying. If we're going to make this movie, this show, this show.
I swear to God, I watch this show and I hear somebody refer to him as the N-word and they don't say it. Like, all right, done.
Well, turn that off.
You do realize...
This was your golden ticket. You literally got the Wonka golden ticket to use the goddamn word, and you fumbled it.
You dropped it in the gutter, just like whoever dropped his ticket down in the drain. You dropped it in the drain. What are you doing?
Yeah, I thought so. I was just checking his timeline. Now this is what Bass Reeves really looked like. Yeah, so the guy they got looks pretty good. But
yeah.
Here's the
mustache
thing, though.
Should be a little bigger.
But black men in cowboy hats look cool. We need more black men in cowboy hats.
We do. Black cowboys.
There were plenty of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying we need to bring that back as a style. I'm tired of fuck sagging pants. Let's get brothers out here in cowboy hats.
That'd be cool.
Go
back to the 70s slick. Yeah, baby. But here's the thing about Bass Reeves and these N words you're talking about. At that time, no one would have used that word, even though I know Hollywood keeps telling you that, because that word you're talking about is a very modern word, super modern.
Well,
right?
True. They would have called him a re at the end. That's how
they would have called them a Negro.
Dialect. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They would have said either Negro or Negre, like them Negras. Like old TV shows used to have this right. If you go watch,
dialect pronunciation, but they're
that's
basically
what I'm
just calling
those old TV shows had the correct dialectic because there were still people around who used it very regularly, like Western style of speech. That's what they would have said. Most
but the thing was, it wasn't necessarily a derogatory term, right?
Correct, but it was often used in a derogatory way. Like they were, even if it wasn't necessarily that, it was definitely very often used that way. Not always. More often than not, probably.
No, that's not. That actually isn't true. He was born before the war, but he, as a full adult man, the war kicked off. But in the North, even in the Mason-Dixon area, and especially in the West, there were no real issues with Negroes. It was in the South, and it was all of the animosity that came up, particularly after the war with Restoration. And so many of them, like, say, Josie Wales, those kind of guys, Jesse James, who escaped into the West because they were being hunted where they were, Kentucky and Missouri and stuff like that. Those kind of people, those, fugitive rebels or people just escaping to find a new life in the West, they probably had a lot of issues with blacks, I am sure. But
Well, I know who also
the
had
average American
a
didn't, though.
well,
Well, they still don't.
it doesn't get discussed as much, but a lot of Jewish bankers had some issues because they lost a lot of money when the Negroes got freed because
Well, the
they
Jews are
they
always upset about
just
something. I mean,
That's
yeah,
true.
but
They're very angry people.
that seems to be the forgotten part about the whole slave trade is that a lot of those Negroes was out on loan from banks,
hmm.
and
Yep.
it just so happens there was a lot of Steens and Steins
Oh yeah.
owning them liens.
That's true. Of course, they were bankers and stuff, and really at that time it depended. Were you fresh off the boat from Europe? You probably had a more ugly look when it came to the Negroid people. But the average American, particularly up in the, like I said, the foundry, what we call the Rust Belt today, New England, and out in the West, like Ohio and places like that, and even push ever further pushing west, right? There
Yeah.
really wasn't much of that.
Well, they
It,
weren't here. They didn't start migrating up here in large numbers until the Industrial Revolution to get the jobs in the
oh,
factories.
right, but there were plenty of black people in the North, and some of them were senators and
Yeah.
lawmen
They
and
were just far. I'm just
lawyers
saying they
and
were far more.
doctors.
They were far less common than
Well,
they are now,
yeah,
especially.
no. When you had those after the Civil War, you had so many migration north. It
Yeah.
created a different demographic. That's true.
Which was
But
the
I'm just
point of
saying,
the war.
in Bass Reeves' time, especially where he was dealing, I don't know that he would have ran into too much trouble racially.
Well, that and he was
Where was he?
packing. So I mean, back then,
And
I mean,
badged.
Where was he born?
I mean,
I'm Bass
fuck
Reeves.
around and find out was the law of the land.
Well, it was, but keep in mind that there was a government that saw him as useful enough to actually legitimize him. Um,
Yeah,
so U.S. Marshal, so he's the Mississippi River, and the first west
Arkansas,
of Mississippi River, Arkansas. There
where
you
he was
go.
born. So
And
he
that's
ran into
during
some of it
that
at least in
period.
his
So
younger
this,
years.
but you know what I mean. This guy, it
Yeah.
was not some look
he,
down. Oh, this black guy. It wasn't like that. It just wasn't.
he
I
was
know
as
Hollywood
middle
keeps
America
telling you
as it
this.
got.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. Um, and he was literally a federal marshal. So that's pretty high
At
level. I
one
mean, he
time,
could
the
have been Will Smith.
highest level, the highest level you could be as far
Yeah.
as law enforcement, federal marshal for it really technically is supposed to still
Oh,
be, but that's another conversation.
Well,
Uh,
don't tell Texas.
uh, I love the idea of them doing a Bass Reeves show. I'm
Yeah,
definitely going to check it out
I should check it
because
out
if
too.
they do well with it, if they don't inject a bunch of modern bullshit into it and just tell his story, it'll do fine. His story is
well,
phenomenal. It genuinely is.
well,
It's one of the most interesting
the
American stories there is.
If I
the
recall, this
Howl
guy's pretty
Comics,
small
Mr.
though.
Alan Alonso said it is filmed like an 80s action show, if that makes any sense.
It could be cool.
Uh,
Let's see here. I want to. If I recall, this guy was kind of teeny though. But
According to
most of the
this,
Africans are pretty
Chester,
small, really. Huh?
he started off as a slave. He was born into slavery in Arkansas in 1838. And then he was freed and eventually freed and became who he became. But no, it's a fantastic story.
It is a good
There's other
story.
ones coming out of that same time period of black guys, former slaves, ending up owning the plantations they worked on, becoming senators and all sorts of things. Like Hollywood doesn't want to tell those stories though, because those stories they go against the narrative of white man bad, white man evil, white man oppressor, all these things. But there's so many of them that would be really, really, really cool to see done not like this Napoleon movie, but like a proper, like a Master and Commander or something like that. Give
Yeah,
it
a
to somebody who
documentary
has
drama, a
respect.
docudrama. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody who has respect for it, who can take the story, dramatize it enough that you can get a good movie out of it, and then just tell basically the story. there have been a few movies where, especially westerns, that they've done a pretty good job, especially back in the day, of doing that, of telling the story. Obviously, they embellish here or there where they need to, but the western genre is probably the best at it
Oh,
overall,
and there were
like on the scale.
especially after the war, a lot of black people went west to make their fortune. Now
And
you're
they did.
right. The Industrial Revolution drew way more up out of the South than that moment. But a lot of them did. They tried, and they have their stories, of course. And there were plenty of people up in New England, New York, black dudes that had a lot of authority and knowledge, intelligent people they could tell stories about. But no, they would rather go and take Hannibal Barker and make him a black guy. That's what they'd rather do. Take this
Yeah,
this
yeah.
very famous
Because
Phoenician, because we know how black the Phoenicians were.
did you see? Did you see what Doctor Who has done? I don't know if you had it slated to talk
It
about.
was bad, dude. Yeah.
They took one of the most famous men of science to ever live, arguably the most, who was pale as a ghost, very white man, and made him Indian. In Doctor Who, Mr. Isaac Newton is
Yeah,
now
no,
an
I saw
Indian,
that, but
according to the BBC.
this last Doctor Who, they just took the blinders off and they're like, screw it,
Yeah, they're
we're
done.
going 100% woke and we don't care whether you like it or not. That movie
Yep.
is constantly degrading the Doctor, and it's all about him
Yep.
being a man. It's all very
Yep.
anti-male. There's so much woke in that. It's ridiculous level. That is the least of the problems that Isaac Newton was made an Indian.
Imagine being British and being forced to fund that nonsense.
Yeah, no, it's
Yep,
ridiculous.
and see, that's where gun laws matter. Because see, if just had some guns, they could have shot up the goddamn BBC.
Yep. As they
So,
should.
Yeah.
because this is when I know some people say violence is never appropriate. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Well, keep in
Because
mind,
because it's tax. Remember, because bear in mind, taxation is theft. So these people are getting their money taken from them. They're not volunteering their money. Getting it taken from them to have their very existence mocked and ridiculed by a bunch of mentally ill people.
and keep in mind that
Yeah, you should
40%.
be shooting the place up.
Yeah, well, keep in mind 40% of the BBC are not even English or Scottish or
Right.
Welsh.
Even more reason to shoot
Yeah.
the place
They're
up.
foreigners, right? But yeah,
Causing
no,
trouble.
Britain, the United Kingdom is out of control.
Well, the
clearly.
reason I bring that up is because it's amazing to me how low, as Grimlock has said, their the quote unquote black community's self esteem is, because they see
Oh, yeah.
these things as a victory when they do the race swap to them, right? To them when they make this character black or whatever.
Uh-huh.
A lot of, not all of them, I'd say not even the majority, but enough of them see this as they won. They got one over on the white man. And it's not even about them. It has literally nothing to do with them. They are nothing but a tool for the people in their ideology that hate white people.
Yeah.
If for some reason, and the reason why I brought up Isaac Newton is a perfect example, because in Britain, it's more Indian or Pakistani or Middle Eastern, where that's done more often than it is the black. They still do black, but they usually do it to the lighter shades of brown, because it's not about them. It's about
brown.
shaming white people. That's all it's
It
about.
is.
It's
It
about
is.
humiliating you.
And it's a shame because there are some famous, smart and heroic people who were not white through history. A few.
Couple of them.
A
They do
couple.
exist.
There
Yeah.
are a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's
I couldn't
outrageous.
believe that making Hannibal a black dude. It's like, but they did it with Achilles.
I can believe it.
they
I can believe it.
did it with
After
Charlotte.
Anne Boleyn, you guys
Boleyn.
should know that nothing was off the table.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
Because
I like that they picked Hannibal, because while he was very successful, he still got in the end. So they still can't give the black man anything good, is what I'm saying to you.
Well,
he still loses to the white man in the end.
well, think about
but
this.
that was when he was with the Greeks, though.
How many times we've talked about black people still clinging on to Cleopatra, and I have no fucking idea why they keep clinging to Cleopatra.
Well, it's just another historical person who we know exactly what looked like.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she was an ugly bitch. Why are y'all claiming this bitch? She was
they
a
claimed
vile,
Julius
ugly
Caesar.
Bitch.
Like, we don't have 100 different busts of what Caesar looked like. Like, we don't know
Yeah.
exactly what Julius Caesar looked
Well,
like.
Alan
look,
has hit it
in
right
that
on the head,
in that
though. He
regard,
said
in
Isaac
that regard,
Hayes
I would
Newton.
claim
You're right, sir.
I would say, look, to
Isaac
be
Hayes
honest,
Newton.
if I could get away with it, I would claim Caesar too. If you're gonna steal, you steal the best.
Yeah.
You
That's
don't
true. You steal the man.
you don't steal the stumble bums. You steal the best one.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was such the man they had to stab him in the back.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
that's the only way they could deal with him.
I'm waiting for them to take one of the great Indian leaders, or say one of the Chinese leaders, and make them black. I'm waiting for
That
that.
might start a war. That
I
might
hope
be
so.
wartime.
You know what? To be honest, it probably would have been done as a Dave Chappelle bit, but if
Make
that's
Buddha
the case,
black.
I only wish that Charlie Murphy was still alive so they could have casted him as Sitting Bull, because I could just see Charlie Murphy. That would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Listen, Chester, I want somebody to make a movie with a black Buddha, like straight up Buddha,
Yeah.
but not African black. No. I want that South Indian black.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want the
yeah,
actual
yeah.
black like coal. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is
He
where
looks
their
like fucking
commitment's
Mr. Popo from Dragon Ball.
at. Okay. And we won't mention that the Buddha was actually blonde and blue eyed.
We'll leave that alone.
Yeah, just don't touch
Leave
that.
that
No.
alone. That Hitler guy was talking about things we can't mention it. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
allowed.
true. That's true. That is
Yeah.
true. But what else I got here? I saw that there was a thing here, and they're talking about. Okay, I have to redo you again. This page is not a happy page.
They just having a
Screen Rant? Fuck Screen Rant.
It doesn't even want to reload now. All right. Well, okay. I guess we're not going to do that.
that one don't matter. See ya.
Next. But I thought I would take, because we were talking about the movies and how bad a year it's been. I thought we would take a look at what the
DB.
thank you. I always get that backwards. Amazon thinks is the best movies of the year. I thought we'd take a look and see if it stacks up,
Oh Lordy, no.
because I have a feeling it's probably going to be some Sesame Street Elmo turns gay episode's going to be number one. We'll see. So Red One. Yeah, didn't watch it. Looked like a bunch of
Never even
nonsense.
heard of it.
Okay.
I thought they were rocking it.
Well,
it's not even
Dwayne
out yet. That's
Johnson.
next year.
Yeah. But they had because this is part 2, I guess, or whatever it was. But anyway, The Color Purple, a musical.
Nick,
Now we're gonna linger.
no. That movie. First of all, that movie did so much harm.
Oh sure,
Because
black
for
men
some
beat
reason,
women. Didn't you know?
black women,
Didn't you know?
black women started living vicariously through that fucking movie,
Yep.
and acted like every black man that wasn't just fucking contorting their spine to kiss their ass was Mister. It's like, come on. And look, I understand that there are real asshole men out here that
Of course.
are literally Mister. But see, women, if you guys would have got out the way and you let us men handle it, and we would have handled it by hanging them motherfuckers,
That's
and have to
true.
worry about
you
that
can't-
shit.
That's
No
true.
lynching.
But
Not allowed to lynch people. That's bad. That's evil. I'm told.
My favorite Mister.
shit, I would lynch
personally.
these motherfuckers with Christmas lights to keep the holiday spirit.
There you go. There you go. That's nice. My favorite Mister though of all time has got to be Samuel L. Jackson and Black Snake Moan. It's
Yeah,
got to be.
yeah.
Got to be.
He's good.
But
He's good.
this is outrageous, and of course it didn't make any money at all, but yet it's number 39. The Hunger Games once again lost vicious amounts of money, but it's on the list.
Does anybody still care about that franchise?
No.
Well, it's clearly not. Didn't make money.
No.
You got, and of course this stupid little girl who's not even the main cast. She's not even the main cast. This Zegler girl. She screwed him over, right? And they even have her name first here. She's not the main cast. He is.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
This movie isn't even out yet.
Nope.
That comes out this week, doesn't it?
So how
believe
in the
so,
hell
yeah.
can it be 37? It's not out.
Well, the one on the bottom wasn't out yet either. Comes out next
This
year.
one isn't
Very
out
first.
either.
Oh my god! I didn't even know they were making another Wonka. Good lord.
To be
Yep.
fair, Hugh Grant looks freaking awesome in it, though. He looks like he's having a ball. I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I have a feeling the Hugh Grant playing the
Isn't that
uh,
supposed to be like a prequel though? This
it is
movie?
prequel. It is prequel, yeah. But
Oh
he's
my
playing
god.
a Loompa, and Oompa Loompa. Is that what they're
An
called?
Oompa Loompa.
Oompa
That's what. Yeah.
Loompa. But he looks cool. Who knows? We'll see. Never heard of you. Are you even out yet?
Come on, Eileen.
Yeah, this one
Hmm.
says a woman's friendship with a new coworker at the prison facility where she works takes a sinister turn. Don't know what that is. Hmm.
they
Women
already
talking
made
now.
that. They already made. Oh
They're
god, that shit's
definitely
made.
passing out.
No, this movie.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
well, they already made Theater Camp. It was called American Pie, and that was the best when they went to band camp. That's pretty much probably what that's going to be, but just without the hilarity that was American Pie.
Well, each generation has their own. Mine was 16 Candles, I guess.
Mhm. Well, I would. I don't know. Well, I guess yeah. 16 Candles got some raunchiness to it.
Yeah. But women talking. I actually know of this movie, and it's a bunch of Amish women that the men are doing something bad, and they're deciding whether they should stay with their families or leave. I don't know their final decision. I actually, of course, we know their final decision. The killer, no clue. Talk to me. Never heard of it. Bo is afraid. Okay, Bo. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This movie is one of the biggest flops of all time, but yeah, you have it at 28. Really.
I forgot it even came out.
Yep. Asteroid City, saw the trailer. Maybe I do believe this is Wes Anderson. It is Wes Anderson. I kind of I like Wes Anderson stuff, but you got to be a person who likes Wes Anderson stuff. Otherwise, you're going to hate it,
Mm. Hmm.
right? What is a
I
bottoms?
haven't seen a
Let's
two.
see.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That's a movie only like 3% of the population is going to be interested in
but
seeing.
it's number 26. It says
Yeah,
two
and how? Yeah,
unpopular queer high school students start a fight club to have sex before graduation. Now,
yeah. Nobody's.
okay, hold on a second.
This is going to bomb like Bros did
Okay,
because that movie did so well.
let me deal with the logic here for a second. Give me a second. Okay, my brain just hurt.
Uh-oh.
Two gays start fight club to have sex before some date or graduation. So if
Sounds
these
like a race
two,
club, to be
well,
honest.
no, I'm working the logic out here, Grimlock. Okay, so two gay high school students start a fight club. Now, how does a fight club relate to having sex before graduation? I'm not sure. But the thing is, they could have solved this in 2 minutes by having the two gay guys just have sex with each other. Because
That's right.
there's two.
See,
See,
Chester.
there's two.
See, I realize you like going against tradition. If you wanted to
Two.
kill your brain cells, you just could have drank alcohol like a normal person does. But no, you had to take this long journey
Mhm.
to kill your brain cells by trying to figure out the logic of this nonsense,
Yeah. But it's
knowing good and damn
26
well there
though. It
was
must be
none.
amazing. Okay.
Yeah, just like how they told everybody Bros was going to be the breakthrough comedy of the
Right.
year,
Well, look at this
when
though.
that has an audience of next to nobody.
Barbie, biggest movie
Wow.
of the year, is 25.
Wow. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, it's got a lot of bullshit in it, but from what I've never seen it because I'm not gonna watch the Barbie movie. Everybody I know who has seen it liked it, even if it had the bullshit in it. So I don't know. It must still be a something in there is still still registering with people.
Yeah, and mostly
Yeah.
I
that
don't know.
women just wanted a Barbie movie.
They just
Some
want a
some
Barbie
people
movie.
just wanted.
Good for them. Right?
They just
Yeah.
waited long and they just like, hey,
Remember how long we've wanted a Fantastic Four movie? Just one
Right.
good
yeah,
one.
A good
It'd be
one. Yeah, we're
great.
not going to get it. We're not
yeah.
going to get it.
Hey, look, I understand their logic. That's how I felt back in the day. It was like, I just want a good Transformers game, and then I finally got one.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Yep.
understand. They wanted a bar. These women waited a long time, all of their lives for a Barbie movie. They finally got one, and for the most part, it looked like Barbie. Yeah, most of the women acknowledge the woke shit, but they're like, I just wanted a Barbie movie,
Fair enough.
so I'm fine with
We got a Spanish movie and a Japanese movie here. Okay, they could be efforts, I guess. Suzume. All right,
it. Sounds
like
anime.
yeah, that's like a summer wind. Blackberry, period piece maybe. Tetris. Actually, I heard this is pretty good.
Got that came out. Both of those actually.
Yeah, these are talking about things that were successful. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. They remade that.
Apparently,
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, at least
Same
it's
reason.
still a comedy, though. At least it's still a comedy. All right.
Well, yeah, but is it though? It might be classified as one. We'll see how many yucks are in there. But the same reason they made a Hunger Games prequel that I don't think anybody asked for. Not
Yeah, well,
any.
it didn't
I
make
don't.
money, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Some Korean movie, don't need it. I actually saw this air. It wasn't bad at all. It was pretty good.
yeah, I heard that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll probably check that out eventually. It's pretty rare when Matt Damon is a total miss. He has some movies that are but it's usually at least watchable because
Yeah, no,
he's
he's pretty good in it.
a good actor.
Jason Bateman's awesome in it.
Well,
Ben's
yeah,
not
again,
bad in it.
is he Ben Affleck? Is he just Ben Affleck?
No, he's not.
Is
But
he-
when he's with Matt, when he's next to Matt, he's different.
It's kind of like when you have an okay looking girl, but she stands next to an ugly one. You're like,
Uh-huh.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
better by
that's how that
comparison.
works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or any Asian girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but this is worth a watch, everybody, if you're listening. Air, I thought it was good. Dungeons and Dragons had great fun. If you are
Dungeons and
a
Dragons is
D&D
really good.
fan, you should definitely watch it. It's full of Easter eggs. It's pure love of D&D.
It's way better than I expected it to be, and it's better. And I'd say that's probably true with most people because most people didn't watch it. It's a shame that it came out right as Wizards of the Coast decided they wanted to shoot themselves in the entire leg, not just the foot. They
Yeah.
just blew that son of a bitch right off with a shotgun and destroyed any momentum this movie could
Well,
have possibly
we
picked
see
up.
that happen a lot, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Chris Pine. This movie did. It's good. It's a good fun movie.
He
Didn't
just
make
can't
money.
win.
Then of course he's the
He
voice of the
can't
bad
win
guy.
either, and he's great. Chris Pine is always good in every
Yeah.
movie he's in, and he just can't win. Just can't win.
Now this right here, they're continuing trying to do the Agatha Christie stuff with Perot, A Haunting in Venice. They've done this is the third
Yep.
one. This movie is being I don't know why it's 15 because every review I've seen on it is just boring and they hated it. Guardians of the Galaxy, I haven't seen it, but people say that they had fun with it. Monster.
I have no idea.
Okay. How many movies you got to name Monster Hollywood? There's several
Oh,
already.
This looks
There's a lot.
this looks like an Asian film.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I guess it's got a mix of people in it though. The Japanese, it looked maybe a Japanese movie, I guess. Zone of Interest. Oh, great. Auschwitz.
Oh, good.
Fun.
More Holocaust porn.
Uh,
Lovely.
whatever.
There it
John
is.
Wick.
There's the movie of the year, right there.
It
John
was
Wick
fun.
4.
The ending pissed me off.
Great. The ending's stupid, but the rest of it's amazing. So good up to that ending.
A Turkish movie here. Okay, might be good. We get some good ones from there around there every now and then. Even though it didn't make lots of money, it seems that it was a fun movie though, which is not surprising.
Yep.
The
Mission Impossible
Holdovers.
pretty good.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is, but some holiday comedy, I guess.
It's got Paul Giamatti in it.
Fair enough.
Apparently.
Fair enough. Yeah. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Nah, it's way out of control. Not interested. Anatomy of a Fall. The lady kills her husband, and her son knows the truth. He's blind, but he knows the truth. Does he let his mother stay free, or does he accuse her? Oh, we wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what. Let's see, evolution of Bella Baxter, a young woman brought back to life by the brilliant and unorthodox science of Dr. Goodwin Baxter. Okay, right. Killers of the Flower Moon. It's another Scorsese bore, I feel.
It's way too long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just bore. He's a great filmmaker, but God, his stuff is boring, dude.
Oh,
He-
him
he's-
and He has been obnoxious lately. His
Yeah.
bitching about the superhero genre.
Oh yeah, he doesn't
Him
like
and
it.
some of
Yeah.
him and the other Hollywood snobs. Because I saw an article with Jodie Foster talking about how the superhero phase lasted too long and none of those movies are life changing. I'm like, when was the last movie you was in that was considered life changing?
None. Zero.
Life-changing movie.
Zero. Yeah.
I love movies. Genuinely, a total film buff wanted for a long part of my youth to be a director. Genuinely looked into it, everything, the whole nine. There's no movie I've ever watched that's been life-changing. Sorry to tell you,
No.
that's
The
silliness.
the only
That's
movie that's
silliness.
life changing is How to Avoid Getting Herpes. This is
Yes.
life changing.
but it's like I just hearing their snob ass attitude. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
you're
so
right.
a lot of superhero movies haven't been great. I'll be the first one to actually agree with that part. But most of that has to do with Disney and Warner Brothers
recently.
execution.
Yeah.
Because these fucking tourists and normies have never read the actual fucking stories. I guarantee anybody, I put the Phoenix Saga against most great fiction. I would put it up there with, in terms of great fiction. You could put it up there with just about anything. It's
That's
that good.
Superman. Absolutely, 100%.
It's just that it's been poorly executed. But
Yeah.
but for the last 20 years, because like you guys, we were just saying earlier, how many really great movies have come out in the last 20 years?
Well,
It's not a lot.
great movies. Well,
Great movie.
Like genuinely classics, ones that will be
a
people will
couple
be talking about
probably.
for 25 years.
Okay, well, maybe you don't, because I know you said that you don't, but like, to me, a great movie is a movie you enjoyed so much it don't matter what reason you're gonna have to watch it.
Oh, you
You're
mean
watching it.
mean fun movies? Oh, there are plenty.
Yeah.
There are a
Well,
lot of good fun movies.
rewatchable,
Yeah.
immersive, pull you into it. You don't really care about,
Yeah.
For me,
Oh,
of the
lots.
last 5 years, Bullet Train is one of them.
Oh, that
I
was
can
fun.
watch that
That was
anytime.
That was
good
good.
fun.
I love
That
Bullet
was
Train.
Yeah, no, there are plenty of good fun movies. Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick. I love Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, that
I know
was a great movie.
Grimlock
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Joker. Watch Joker
That was
anytime.
good.
So good.
Yep.
And that's, I mean, unless I'm maybe one. No, that's probably it. That in like 20 years, I'll be like, yeah, I'll check that out. Let's
Yeah.
watch that again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, right now, nothing to do. Sunday night, you over there. Let me crank up The Northman again, or let me crank up this movie again. Most people are not saying that about these movies.
Well,
And you showed earlier, looking at these fucking box office numbers, because I remember when people was hyped for a movie, they didn't watch it just once.
Sure.
I knew people who, like,
Endgame.
2 or
People
3
watched it
times.
multiple times.
you
for
know
instance.
the two movies I've seen the most amount of times in my life, because I usually watch a movie once anyway. But there are a few
Yeah.
movies I do watch over and over. You're probably going to be disappointed. But those two
Well,
movies are very easy for me to name: Pale Rider and Constantine.
Oh, Pale Rider.
those are, hey, I don't have a problem with,
I love
I don't have a problem with either one of those choices.
Yeah.
You know what? Mine are
Smoking the
even
Bandit,
worse
that
than
movie
that.
for me.
Mine are even worse than that. Mine are 90s comedies. Mine are Dumb and Dumber
It is fun
and,
though.
and Ace Ventura, the first Ace Ventura movie.
I
But the
didn't
reason
like that
that
one.
one, the reason that one, it was because when it came out, it was like perfect for me. At my age, it was just like a perfect storm because it was just the right kind of humor. Stupid, just retarded humor. And I just watched the hell out of it. Now, today, would I sit and watch it a bunch? No, I'd maybe once every 5 years I might watch it just for fun. But back when I was a kid, I'd watch that thing all the time because I loved it. I could recite it. Watch it so much.
Even now, just to prove the point, if I put you into a fucking isolated chamber, you get a choice of 2 movies. You get a Scorsese movie or Ace Ventura. Which one you taking in there for the next 30 days?
Oh, geez, that's this mean. That's mean.
Well, no, because Scorsese is, because just the way they are acting about some of these movies as though they was creating such high art. Look, I get it. Scorsese's a great director, but let's be honest. A lot of dude, you've been skating on your reputation for the last 35 years. People have been fucking tonguing your balls left and right for your previous work. You haven't really put out anything that goddamn great in the last 30 years. You haven't. Same thing
No.
with to see these people shitting on some of these movies. It's like, look, and I think most modern movies are shit. You
Yeah.
give me a choice of a Scorsese movie or the fucking Waterboy for 30 days. I'm taking the Waterboy.
Oh, I'm watching
Okay,
Waterboy.
Waterboy. Okay, we're
Yeah,
getting better.
I'm watching Waterboy.
Waterboy
You know, I'm
definitely.
gonna addendum. Waterboy's probably more than Ventura.
Yeah.
But I would take Who Framed Roger
day.
Rabbit into that damn chamber with me over Scorsese.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, let's just get away from Ace Ventura, please. Thank you. But
you don't like watching a man talk out of his own asshole? That's not high comedy for you?
You know, Jim Carrey.
What
has
we
done a
do
lot of
every
great
4
stuff.
years, we're going to be watching that shit nonstop.
I'm not going to take anything away from him. I just didn't like that character. But no, you're 100% right. Like, for instance, the other day, an article came out from an interview with David Cohen, or as he likes to be called, Taiki Waititi for some reason. But David Cohen was giving his little thing, and he was talking about him doing the Thor movie, and he was like, they offered it to me, and it was like, oh God, I want to do some kind of crap like Thor, some Thor crap. But I needed money, so I took it. You know, it's not usually a film I do because I'm an auteur.
It was that was the biggest no shit Sherlock of the week. It's like
no shit. Yeah, but the thing is,
you really didn't want to be a part of the MCU. Nobody could fucking tell.
Yeah,
had no clue you wasn't into it.
But here's the thing: he calls himself an auteur, but yet his fame is for making a movie, a comedy. What We Do in the Shadows. There's nothing auteur about that at all.
No.
Scorsese is much more of an auteur. Right.
Can I ask a question? Do y'all actually believe how much do you actually believe he had to do with that movie?
Who knows? They really kind of just put names on things, don't they?
Well, yeah, because I'm just gonna be honest. The guy's a no talent fucking hack, and I know everybody says what we do in the. I know everybody says what we do in the shadows is great, but if you look at it, right, it seems like that's the outlier.
Shows better,
and it just makes you wonder. How much did he really have to do with that? Because everything else he's touched has been flaming dog shit.
Yeah, but when you talk about What We Do in the Dark, it's not that it's great. It's not a great movie. It's funny, and it is funny. It has a great sense of humor.
I think the show's better, to be honest with you. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think I love it. I like them both, but if I had to pick between the two, I'd pick the show every time. Yeah. But largely just because Laszlo is were you there, Grimlock, when I literally died for like 5 minutes? I couldn't stop laughing at something he did. The way he said it, the delivery was so good. Chester, I went into a fit. It was a hilarity fit for like 5. I had to stop it. I had to pause it. I couldn't. He killed me. He broke me completely.
But the way look, we've all heard "shut the fuck up." We've never heard it that way.
No, the way he says it, it's just. Oh man, it broke me. So bad.
Yeah, but that doesn't fall into great movies. This falls into fun, right? But I couldn't believe the words.
Well,
and the fact that the thing that pissed me off most about Mr. Cohen is the fact that he can shit all over it, and yet at the end of it say, yeah, well, if they ask him back, I'd do it again. And you know what? He'll keep getting opportunity, even though he's an absolute shit.
Well, no, again. Well, you know how people have those unintentionally honest moments. That's what that was. That was him being unintentionally honest because he's like, yeah, it was always about the money, which is what we so-called bigots were saying from the very beginning.
Yeah,
that you just about the money, casting people, and look. I don't have to like what Disney's doing right now, but if you threw $20 million at me and said, do it this way, I'd bitch a lot less about it. Just being honest, right?
That's true.
Yeah. Most people would. Everybody knew, like, now they're trying to shit on Nia DaCosta for the Marvels, but everybody knew she wasn't fucking qualified for that. But you wanted to make you wanted to make a political statement and you threw money at her, and like I said, she'd be stupid not to take the money at that
Yeah.
point because she knew she
Now-
wasn't qualified.
Now, Mia DaCosta is a full-on bigot. She is a bigot, but
She's
you know,
she's not a bigot.
it's-
She's a fucking idiot.
well,
There's a difference.
no, she's both. Okay, but what it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She got the money. I hope she takes it and spends it well. I hope she does.
Yeah.
Oh, she's gonna spend
And
it already.
Alan, you're half right. Goodfellas is the only really good Scorsese movie.
I agree.
Yeah.
What about Chinatown?
Once again,
He's got. I mean,
you know,
I like a lot of his movies. His problem is they're the same. There's very little difference
Yeah,
between a
like
lot of them.
Taxi Driver. It's like,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, he does pretty much one kind of style. But like I said,
Yeah.
you're gonna sit here and bitch about the superhero genre. How many of yours is about, some illegal mob kind of crime,
All
or
of them.
some dirty cops or some shit? They're pretty
Every
much
one of
all
them.
the same.
Yeah, and the thing is, he leans on Robert De Niro way too much. And the reason why Goodfellas is better is because it has Joe fucking Pesci. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah.
Joe absolutely owns
Well, he
that
was
movie.
in Casino too.
If
Yeah,
Joe
no, I understand
Pesci was a foot taller, he would have been
Oh, he would.
one of the biggest stars of all time, easily.
Yeah,
because
he
he's
has
just
way
so
more
good.
charisma than a lot of people.
He has so much charisma. It was outrageous, the amount of charisma coming out of that little man, that tiny little man. But he just didn't have that
Stature.
leading man marketability. Yeah, he just didn't have it. Unfortunately for him.
Yeah, you were talking earlier about the heroes of your generation.
Let's do it.
I had Clint Eastwood. What did you have?
Okay, let's do it now. Goodfellas or My Cousin Vinny?
Oh, My Cousin Vinny all day long. Yeah,
that
movie is freaking awesome, dude. But I like
So
Goodfellas too. It's a good fun movie. But no, really My Cousin Vinny, geez, dude. He absolutely.
I just wanted to see.
It's got Fred Gwynn in it too,
movies,
and he's wonderful.
Right, we're talking about great movies overall, and for me, in the last, let's say, since 2000, right, the millennium, dawn of the millennium, new millennium, last 24 years almost, gentlemen, getting up there. Holy shit!
Yeah,
I would say there's only been 3 actually great films, and they are all the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, those are great. Yeah.
Everything else will probably mostly just be shuffled off and forgotten, or just be like the MCU as a whole. I think will largely just become like a conversation piece when it comes to things that are going to be studied and understood and tore apart, and they already are to this day. Those movies they'll be like very similar to The Godfather. They'll be very similar to Jaws. They'll be very similar to Citizen Kane and movies of that era. A lot of movies of that era. Hitchcock stuff. I genuinely believe that people will be studying those films for decades, and I don't think there's anything else even close to that that's come out since then. In my opinion, and so if we're going to talk about like just objectively great, that's got to be them. I mean, I don't know who else is even in that conversation, in my opinion. If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I wasn't paying close attention to what you're saying. I was looking for My Cousin Vinny quotes.
I was saying The Lord of the Rings is the greatest movie of the millennium, since Turn of the Millennium. That's what I was saying. The greatest series. I don't even think that's a controversial statement. Like, I think it's pretty obviously the winner at this point. We've had 24 years coming up, and no one's touched it. No one has really been able to do, like, The Return of the King is one of the best movies ever made, top 5, period. Objectively. Like, that's not even like, you can break that movie down in what they know as objective filmmaking. It is real. Filmmaking is not subjective. The process of it is very objective. Your interpretation of it, whether you enjoy it, is subjective. But how you make a movie, why you make a movie, what the characters do, what the shots do, what the lighting does, what all these things do is objective. They can literally teach you to do it. So I would say nothing has touched it. Nothing. It's on a pinnacle above everything else since the year 2000, and nothing else has really even sniffed it, to be honest with you. Before that, obviously, there's other movies that I would say are better, but still, it's very rare you have a series like that Lord of the Rings, the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, that I genuinely believe in 100 years people will still be, if there's a civilization left, they'll still be referencing, and it'll still be understood and probably looked at very similar to how plays that were written 150 years ago or whatever they're still doing today.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
I
Peter
genuinely
Jackson
think
did a
that
good job.
he did a masterpiece, a
He
true
had, he
masterpiece.
he showed love for it.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I got to stop looking at my cousin Vinny quotes.
he's gonna get off here and just go watch my cousin's video. He's gonna call off work, like, listen, I got something important to do.
Yeah, you don't know me well. I would never do such a thing. But Oppenheimer is number one. Now, I haven't seen it. I heard it's kind of got awful boring, but I don't know. That's maybe younger people's opinion. I'm certainly capable of enjoying a slow-paced movie. But
Yep.
I don't know. I find most of the Scorsese stuff to be really boring, but yet I love Blade Runner.
Mm,
And I mean, you're talking about paused
that
pacing,
is a slow-paced movie. Holy crap!
but it keeps tension every second of it. And a perfect example of how good that is. When my kids were like 18, 19, around that, just getting ready to go into college, high school age, there's no way I could show my kids a Scorsese movie. No way. They'd leave the room, right? But yet I sat down and I showed my son, not my daughter, my son, Blade Runner. He watched it the entire time and absolutely adored it. So it shows you that slow pacing isn't the problem. It's about tension. And Scorsese is horrible with tension, in my opinion.
I would say
He's good
yes.
at
I would say
storytelling.
it's not even. I'd say there's a difference.
Mhm.
Scorsese's movies are slow, like you said. Blade Runner is deliberate. He knows exactly why he's going the pace he's going, and he does it constantly for a reason.
Yeah,
And that is what you just said, to build the tension. It's kind of like how the accidental fortune, the serendipity, if you will, of Jaws, of the damn robot not working, made Jaws an infinitely better film. Infinitely better, because you just didn't get to see the shark until right at the end.
it's true.
And it made it so much more suspenseful and so much more terrifying, to be honest, because as the great man, I believe it was Marcus Aurelius, once said,
Mhm.
we suffer more in our imaginations than we do in reality.
It's true.
And that's
Oh yeah.
true for fiction as well. When you're
That's true.
watching something and you just don't quite know what's happening, but it's pretty terrible, that can mess with you in a way that knowing exactly what is happening will not. Once you have that answer, the fear is a lot, typically, depending on what it is a lot more subsided than what it used to be.
Yeah, actually, I use Marcus Aurelius on my son. I just didn't quote him directly. I made it more modern because I've given my
Mhm.
son said I gave him two bits of information as a kid that has stuck with him hard in his life. I was like, only two? Okay. But
Yes,
one,
Dad.
well, no, one was because he had this girl in high school. He was just a brand new high school kid, and they were dating, and then she broke up with him. But he really liked her, and he wanted to get her back, and he was like moaning about it, and he asked me what to do, and I said, well, first of all, stop fucking moaning.
Mhm.
One, and two, stop being so nice.
Yep.
Can't be too nice to girls, and that worked for him big time. He's getting married now. And then
Worked
the
out
other
pretty
one
well.
was he was having trouble um, navigating because he took a very serious major, right? And he was having some trouble navigating some stuff, and it's just education problem. And I was like, well, stop thinking.
Yeah. Shut your brain off.
Yeah, what are you doing? Don't think, do.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be very effective advice for him. So
Yep. And
Marcus Aurelius, man, always come back to the Stoics.
he knew some stuff.
He
Old
did.
Marky. Old Marky Mark.
Yeah. If you haven't read Marcus Aurelius, what was that famous book? He wrote a couple, but what was the one about
Meditation.
Stoicism? Meditations. There it is. Um,
Yeah. Which it really wasn't even
good
a
stuff.
book. It was mostly just his journals that people snagged and made into a book.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
But
writing to himself.
But he took the older idea. It wasn't his idea, right? The Stoic idea.
No.
But he took that and he put it in reality for a lot of people, I think. And
Yeah.
if you haven't read Marcus Aurelius, I suggest you do. To be all honesty, if you're a person, if you're a man, for damn sure, but if you're even a woman, um, Stoicism is the way to live your life.
Yeah.
100%. It is the right way to live your life. I can't think of any other ideology that works better. Can you?
No. As
Yeah.
far as an ideology, no.
Yeah.
If you were to take Christianity and apply it correctly, you basically just become a Stoic. So yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
it is the formula, and it works no matter who you are, as long as you're a human being. It works just fine. It worked. Everybody who's ever tried it, used it, and actually tried to live a Stoic lifestyle. There is no logical fault in it. That's
No,
how you know it's right. You
no.
can't
Yeah.
because we don't know what's true because we know it's true. We know what's true because we know what's false. You see, that's what science is. It's falsification. It is the constant regression away from what is not true, and eventually you're just going to be left with what is. And that's what Stoicism does.
Right,
You
right.
are to
And
take away these externalities as much as you can until you're at the thing you can control and control it absolutely.
right.
And
And
that's what it is.
I can sum it up in it very succinctly. Make yourself a person worthy of trusting, and then
Mm,
trust yourself.
yeah.
That's it.
That's another big problem a lot of people have. Not so much that they don't trust themselves, there's that, but they also don't treat themselves like they would treat a best friend. Meaning, they treat their friends better than they do themselves. They give their friends a break or a slap in the ass more than they would themselves, and because of that, they end up a mess. And it's
No,
like I know so many people who have really good advice, right? They'll have good advice for other people. But then when it comes to themselves,
that's true.
well,
Yeah. But
well,
when you go that way and you start saying you need to love yourself, which Stoicism definitely teaches, um,
yep,
uh, but a lot of people will confuse that with Nietzscheism.
correct.
Yeah, right. And that's not right. Nietzsche is a self-absorbed little shit. I mean, let's be
Yeah,
fair. Stoicism is not that kind of self-indulgence.
correct.
Yeah. Anyway,
You are the only you have. Do something with it.
yep. Be
Take
worthy
care of
of
it.
yourself. Yeah, that's true.
You are
There's a
stuck with you. It's funny because earlier in another Discord, me and a friend, we got into this like philosophical conversation really quickly about the the concept of whether you are the observed or you are the observer in reality. Which one are you? I believe you're the observer. That this meat puppet that I'm piloting isn't actually me. I'm something deeper than that. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're stuck with you. Nobody else but you are you going to be with forever. Your spouse, your children, all these other people are going to go away, most likely. Your children, hopefully, definitely will go somewhere and live their own life. Your spouse is very likely to die. It's about a 50-50 chance before you. So you need to love yourself. You need to be okay with yourself. You need to be your friend.
yeah,
And so many people aren't their own friend. They wouldn't treat somebody they dislike the way they treat themselves.
that's true.
Yet they do it to themselves all the time.
And one of the things that's interesting about Stoicism that I think is very useful, we have this thing in modern, this pseudoscience today we call psychiatry. And of course, it's they've tried to evolve. Jung certainly evolved from Freud, but it's all building off the same idea of the ego, the superego, and the id, right? And
Mm,
just go look at the definitions. You'll understand everything the man said. Okay,
yep.
but the thing is, you go back a couple thousand years, though. There's some in the Stoicism, particularly the Meditations, lays out very clearly the different type of psychologies of humans and how to interact with them properly. I mean, they kind of got it right long time ago, and then they started messing with it, meddling with it.
I screwed it all up.
Yeah,
Yep. They
because if
started
you
listening to women.
well, maybe. But Freud, particularly, right? He and his mama, he had something going on with that. But I mean, seriously,
That
if you look,
mumbling means the wife is close by. She's in
yeah,
smacking distance.
yeah. But 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 the psychological, uh, you know, Archetypes.
I have never seen Chester stutter this much. She must be real close.
No, I was stuttering for Freud, not myself.
Old Sigmund himself.
Yeah. Really, really weird guy.
Never trust somebody named Sigmund.
They
It's
killed
just-
him, though.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
talking about the wrong
He was-
thing, though. They got rid of him. Anyway, I got to
Well,
go, though.
listen. That's what happens when you don't keep your mouth shut. That's all I'm saying.
It's true.
Sometimes
true.
you get got when you're spewing nonsense.
Mhm.
Listen, if you want to spew nonsense, go ahead, do it. You have the right to do so, but somebody else might disagree, and that's all it takes.
That
in
is
the world.
true. That is true. I still say the next movie sensation needs to be an Ethiopian playing the Mohammed. It would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
specifically Muhammad. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be perfect.
Yep.
Anyway,
and then let's mix it up. Let's get a Chinese girl to be Aisha.
oh,
just
that would
for
be
fun.
good. Just a little teeny one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
it more pugnant. Let's see, I left the re out of there. I just put the pugnant on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Just pugnant. Anyway, you guys, thanks for coming in. Of course, 2 days we're going to be continuing our adventure in the super 4-color world that we're doing. And of course, this week we're also doing some art, and I think we're doing I forget what we're doing. We're doing some Alice in Wonderland. It's going to be fun. Yeah, come on back for that.
Old Alice, classic story right there.
Oh yeah, some good art's going to come out of it, I'm sure. Grinlack, would you like to say something to the peoples?
Have a good night, a good week.
Mhm.
It's almost Christmas. This year's gone by fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it goes by faster the older you get. And go watch Bass Reeves. Nice.
We got 28 days before we have to watch a bunch of people talking like Ace Ventura for a whole year. So enjoy these next 28 days.
What? What was that reference?
Out the ass.
Oh, out there.
talking out the ass.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, the political swings in. Yeah, cool.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. All right, that was good. That's I wasn't focused. Go ahead, Thundero.
A very simple little thing. I've said it before. I'll say it again. We were talking about you have to love yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You're the only you've got. I like this one, Chester. It was one of the very first ones I ever wrote, and I think it's true. Hating yourself is a low fate, a life lived dead.
Namaste. Later, everybody.